Hello and welcome. Tonight, we're slowing everything down and stepping into a space of calm and comfort. This is your time, a chance to let go of the noise, settle in, and drift gently toward rest. In just a moment, I'll share a soothing bedtime story, crafted to quiet the mind and wrap you in a sense of peace. So find a cozy spot, dim the lights, and let the rhythm of these words guide you toward relaxation. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. The deck creaks beneath your boots as the morning fog clings to the sea like a damp sheet. You woke hours ago to the rhythm of the tide slapping against the hull. And still, the horizon is nothing but gray. Your shirt is damp, and the salt has stiffened the linen so it scratches against your neck. The smell of tar and bilge water hangs heavy in the air, mixed with the faint sourness of bodies that have not seen fresh water in days. You run your fingers over the rail and feel the crust of dried salt there, rough like sandpaper. There's no wind. The sails sag like tired flags, and the stillness makes the world seem endless. You glance upward. The ropes are black with mildew, and the mast groans when the ship shifts. The last time you saw land was weeks ago, and the memory feels unreal. Green fields, the sound of birds, the smell of earth instead of this endless rot of salt and sweat. Now, all you see is the pale sea, rolling slow as syrup, and the occasional gull that circles, crying for scraps you don't have. Your stomach gnaws at you again. The biscuit you choked down at dawn tasted of damp and weevils, the hard lumps cracking between your teeth like grit. You spat one out. A tiny white worm that writhed against your tongue before dropping to the planks. No one complained. There's no room for disgust here. Not when hunger grinds harder than pride. Salt pork sits in a barrel by the foremast, but the meat is gray with brine and reeks of rot when you lift the lid. Still, men will eat it tonight, carving away the slime and telling themselves it will last a few more days. Voices murmur near the hatch. Dice clatter on a board, and someone curses softly. Gambling is the only spark of life on this drifting coffin. Coins, buttons, even rags change hands. A man with hollow cheeks fingers a strip of red cloth like it's gold, his eyes glassy with need. You watch for a while, then turn away. There's nothing for you there. Your throat aches for water, real water, not the stale rain barrel brew that stinks of mold. You dip a ladle anyway, the liquid tepid and greenish, and swallow without tasting. The tang of metal lingers on your tongue, and you think of the cool streams you once knew. Did they ever truly exist? Or were they a dream? By midday, the sun burns through the fog, a white disk in a colorless sky. Heat settles like a weight on your shoulders. Tar softens underfoot, sticky, and sweat slicks your spine. Shirts hang limp from ropes, stiff with salt. Men strip to their waists, ribs sharp as the ship's timbers, skin blotched with sores from too much sun and too little shade. Flies crawl over everything. Your food, your hands, your face. And you stop swatting after a while because what's the use? The boredom is a thing you can feel, thick as the heat, pressing into your skull. No ships on the horizon, no sails to chase, no prize to take. Just this, waiting, drifting, chewing on damp crumbs while the days bleed together until time itself feels like a joke. You remember the stories you heard in taverns, voices full of fire, gold spilling from chests, laughter, freedom. They never told you about this. They never spoke of how silence could feel like a noose, tightening each day you stare at the same gray swell, the same cracked planks, the same gaunt faces. A cough breaks the stillness. Harsh, wet. You glance toward the sound and see a man slumped by the hatch, clutching his belly. His lips are split and bleeding, his gums swollen and black. He spits, and a streak of red arcs onto the deck. No one looks. You know why? Scurvy creeps slow, eating men from the inside out. First the gums, then the teeth, then the joints that stiffen until even walking feels like chains. You've seen legs mottled purple, the skin splitting open like rotten fruit. There's no cure here, not on this empty sea. Lemons, limes, those are for ships with king's purses, not for men living on luck and stolen sails. A shout rises from the stern. For a moment, hearts quicken. You imagine a sail, a speck of hope on the horizon. You run with the others, boots pounding, breath raw. The lookout leans out, pointing, and for an instant, the sky seems brighter. But it's nothing. A trick of light. Just water, endless and cruel. Men curse and drift back, muttering. Someone kicks a coil of rope so hard it unravels. Evening brings no relief. The air cools, but the stillness holds. You sit by the rail, watching the water turn black, as ink. The sea smells stronger at night, thick and briny, a taste that clings to your teeth even when you close your mouth. Stars prickle overhead, cold and far, and you feel the smallness of this world of wood and rope. Somewhere below, rats skitter, gnawing the same crumbs you fought for at dawn. You lean your head back against the mast and shut your eyes, but sleep will not come. The creak of timber, the slap of idle waves, the faint rasp of someone praying in the dark, all of it seeps into you, filling the hollow spaces where hope used to live. You wonder how many more days like this before something breaks. The ship, the crew, you. The thought clings as you drift, not into sleep, but into a gray haze where time stretches like the horizon. Flat, endless, merciless. And then, in that heavy quiet, a scream cuts the night. The scream tears through the dark like a blade, sharp and desperate. Men jerk upright, hearts hammering, hands scrambling for pistols and cutlasses, though deep down you know it's no enemy boarding. No ship ever comes this far into nothing. Lanterns flare. Shadows lurch across the deck as boots thud on planks. The sound came from below, near the hold. You follow, your breath quick in your throat, the hatch yawning black as tar. The air that rises from it is foul, damp wood, rot, and something sweet that turns the stomach. Lantern light flickers off slick walls as you descend, the ladder groaning under your weight. Voices hiss ahead of you, tense, frightened. He's there. Jory, the one who coughed earlier. Only now his body jerks like a fish on a line, limbs stiff, eyes wide and white. His gums are split to ribbons, teeth black at the roots, blood bubbling at his lips as he tries to breathe. You freeze, clutching the rail. You've seen death before, but this is slower, crueler. The surgeon crouches beside him, a bent shadow with shaking hands. His tools, rusted saw, blunt knife, glint in the lamplight. Nothing for it, he mutters, voice flat. Too late. Someone spits, curses under his breath, and pushes back into the dark. You stay rooted, the boards cold under your bare feet. Jory gurgles once, a sound that crawls along your spine, and then he's still. The surgeon wipes his hands on his apron, smearing brown and red. Help me lift him, he says, and you obey, because what else can you do? His skin feels wrong, loose and clammy, as if it doesn't belong to the bones beneath. Together you haul him toward the ladder, his head lolling like a broken doll. On deck, the wind has risen at last, whispering through the rigging like a ghost. You lay him out under the stars, the crew circling in silence. No prayers, no words. Just the dull splash as his body slides into the sea, vanishing into black water that closes without a trace. The surgeon watches, his eyes hollow. You think of his hands, and how they will never be clean again. The night deepens. You lie awake against a coil of rope, staring at the sky. The stars seem sharper now, cruel pinpricks in an endless void. Around you, men mutter in their sleep, teeth grinding, breath rattling. You can almost hear the scurvy eating its way through the crew, slow and patient, like the sea itself. Morning brings wind at last. Canvas billows, ropes creak, and the ship groans as she heels into motion. Relief flickers like a candle in the dark. You feel it in your chest. That surge of life as the deck tilts beneath your boots and spray leaps up like shattered glass. Men grin for the first time in weeks. Teeth brown and broken but bared in something close to joy. The world moves again. The course is set southward toward the Windward Isles. Though no one says it aloud. A whisper of plunder rides the air like a promise. Merchantmen, fat and slow, bellies full of sugar and rum. That's what you dream of now. Gold is a story. Rum is real. It burns your throat, numbs your belly, makes the ache in your bones fade to a dull hum. Days pass in a blur of labor. You climb ratlines slick with rain, fingers raw on the ropes, salt wind lashing your face. You haul, coil, scrub, until your shoulders scream, and your nails split black. Nights are short and restless. Bodies pressed shoulder to shoulder in the forecastle. The air rank with sweat and mildew. Rats scurry over your feet, bold as kings, gnawing the same crumbs you guard like treasure. Then comes the rain. Warm, heavy, drenching. It hammers the deck, turns the planks slick under your boots, and you lift your face to it like a man starved. You drink from cupped hands, sweet fresh water running down your throat, and laugh for the first time in months. Barrels are rolled out, staves creaking as they fill. Men cheer, shirts plastered to ribs sharp as knives. For a moment, it feels almost like grace. But the rain doesn't stop. Day after day it falls, relentless, turning the world to gray sheets and howling wind. The deck floods, boots slosh, ropes swell and strain. You work in darkness, muscles numb, fingers wrinkled like old fruit. Every breath tastes of wet wood and salt. Sleep becomes a rumor. You close your eyes for an instant and wake to the lash of rain against your face, your body swaying with the ship as if the sea is trying to claim you, piece by piece. When the storm breaks, the silence is worse. The sea lies flat as iron, the sky a pale, merciless blue. Heat beats down like a hammer, and steam rises from the soaked planks. The water barrels are full now, but the food is nearly gone. You gnaw a strip of leather-hard pork, the taste of rot crawling over your tongue, and force it down because there is nothing else. Men chew wood shavings, swallow rainwater to fill the hollow in their bellies. You look at their faces, eyes sunk deep, cheeks hollow, lips cracked to bleeding. Some stare at nothing, rocking like children. Others whisper to themselves, fingers twitching as if counting coins that aren't there. You understand then what the stories never told you. The sea does not kill with storms or cannon fire. It kills with waiting, with hunger, with the slow grinding away of all that makes you human. And then, one morning, the cry goes up. A sail on the horizon. Not a ghost this time. Real. White against the blue. Swelling larger with every breath you take. Your heart slams like a drum. The ship comes alive around you. Boots thundering. Voices roaring. Pistols snapping open. At last, something to burn this endless boredom to ash. You grip the rail, the wind in your face, and feel the hunger sharpen into something else. Something dangerous. The shout rolls across the deck like thunder, shaking men from their stupor. Boots pound against planks, ropes scream as canvas is hauled taut. The black gull lunges forward, her timbers groaning as if waking from a long and bitter sleep. You feel the wind whip against your face, tangling your hair in ropes of salt, and your heart thunders in rhythm with the drums of the sea. The target lies ahead, a pale smear on the horizon, swelling into shape. Broad sails, square and fat with trade winds. A merchantman. You can almost taste the sugar in her hold, the casks of rum sloshing like liquid fire, the sacks of hard bread untainted by rot. Your stomach twists with a hunger fiercer than any storm, and your fingers ache to close around steel. Orders snap through the air, sharp as cutlasses. Run out the guns! Men swarm like ants, hauling iron beasts to their mouths, wedges and coin blocks groaning into place. The smell of powder hangs heavy, sour and familiar, curling into your lungs. You seize a handspike, muscles screaming as you heave the cannon forward, sweat stinging your eyes. Wood thuds, ropes creak, and the deck trembles as the first gun test fires with a crack like God's own thunder. The sun climbs, a white blaze that sears your back through salt-crusted linen. Your throat burns for water, but there's no time. The sea between you and the merchant closes like a tightened noose, and you can see her clearly now. White hull streaked with rust, sails swelling fat, flag snapping in the wind. You wonder if her crew has seen you yet, if their hearts pound the way yours does now. The captain strides the quarterdeck, coat flapping like a torn banner, eyes hard as flint. His voice cuts through the roar of the wind. Hold fast, lads! We take her, or we rot! Cheers answer him, ragged but fierce, a sound torn from throats raw with salt and hunger. You shout with them, the cry ripping something loose inside you. Closer now. You see faces on her deck, tiny shapes scrambling, the flash of sun on steel. Your palms slick with sweat as you grip the rail. Every breath tastes of iron, powder, and fear. The world narrows to the space between your hull and theirs, shrinking with every pounding heartbeat. Then the signal. One slash of the captain's arm. Fire. The deck erupts in smoke and flame. The cannon kicks like a living thing, hurling you back against the bulwark. Ears ring. Lungs claw for breath in the choking fog of powder. You hear the scream of iron tearing air, the splintering crack as shot meets wood. Voices rise, shouts, curses, cries that might be fear or fury. You lunge forward, hands fumbling for the rammer and load again. Faster, faster, because now the guns speak on both sides and the sea itself shakes with their fury. Splinters fly like daggers, stinging your skin. A man beside you jerks, crimson blooming across his chest, and folds without a sound. You leap over him, boots sliding in blood and brine, and keep loading. There is no time for thought, no space for fear. Only the thunder of guns, the crash of waves, the burn of salt and smoke in your throat. Then, through the haze, you hear it, the captain's roar. Grapples! Board her, lads! Your heart slams like a drum as hooks arc through the air, biting into rail and rigging. Ropes snap taut, dragging the two ships together until their hulls grind with a sound like breaking bones. You seize a cutlass, its grip slick with sweat, and climb the splintered bulwark. The world tips and sways beneath you, sky and sea spinning as you leap across the gap. Boots hit strange timber, and suddenly you are there, in the storm of screams and steel. The air reeks of blood and powder. Faces snarl inches from yours, teeth bared, eyes wide with terror. Steel clashes, ringing in your bones. A blade whistles past your ear, close enough to shear a lock of hair, and you swing wild, your arm jolting as the cutlass bites deep. Warmth splashes your hand. Blood, not yours. And the man crumples like a sack of grain. There is no time to see his face. Another comes, roaring, and you drive forward, body moving faster than thought. The deck is chaos. Men grappling, slipping in gore. Boots pounding on wood slick with blood and rain. Smoke curls in thick ropes, blinding you, choking you. And through it all the ship groans, timbers crying under the weight of death. And then, Silence. Not all at once, but in ragged breaths, as screams falter and steel falls from trembling hands. You blink through the haze and see them. The merchant crew, beaten, huddled like sheep, faces gray with fear. One man kneels, hands shaking, lips moving in prayer. Another stares at you with eyes so empty they barely seem human. Your chest heaves, lungs raw, arms trembling with the weight of blood on steel. Around you, men laugh, a harsh, cracked sound that has nothing of joy in it. They strip bodies, rifling through pockets for coins, rings, scraps of silk. Someone finds a cask and smashes it open, rum spilling across the planks like molten amber. Voices rise, wild and broken. Drink! Drink, damn ye! You stumble toward the rail, clutching the wood, and stare at the sea. It rolls on, calm and endless, as if nothing has happened. As if it has not swallowed the cries of dying men and the stink of spilled blood. Your hands shake, crimson dripping to the water below, and you wonder, not for the first time, what you have become. Behind you, laughter turns to shouts, fists flying over loot, and the captain's voice roars above it all. But you barely hear. You close your eyes, the wind cool on your face, and feel the emptiness yawning wide inside you. And then, through the din, comes a whisper, a word passed from mouth to mouth, soft as sin. Fever. The word moves like a shadow through the crew, slipping between shouts and laughter until even the drunkest man lowers his cup. Fever. It clings to the air heavier than powder smoke, sour and silent. You hear it on the lips of the gunner as he leans close, breath reeking of rum. Two men down below. He mutters, eyes darting like rats, hot as fire, raving. Then he spits to the side and staggers away, but the seed is planted deep. By dusk, the prize ship groans under its new masters. Sails hang limp from slashed rigging, and the deck is a charnel house. Blood pooled in cracks, bodies stripped bare, and tumbled over the side without prayer. The sea swallows them quick, without ceremony. Men curse as they haul casks and crates across planks slick with gore, their laughter gone, voices low and hoarse. Every groan of timber sounds like a warning now. You work because it keeps your hands from shaking. Rope bites into your palms as you heave the grapnels free, the hemp rough enough to peel skin. Sweat stings your eyes, runs cold down your spine despite the heat. When the last chest is hauled aboard the Black Gull, the captain strides the deck, boots leaving red prints, his coat flaring like a dark wing. His voice is iron. Leave her. Burn her. They do. Flames climb her rigging like wild vines, sails curling into black petals against the sky. You stand at the rail, watching fire devour her, smoke boiling upward until the stars vanish behind a veil of ash. The heat kisses your face, sweet and cruel, and for a moment, you think of church candles, of prayers whispered long ago when the world was smaller and sins seemed few. Then, the mainmast crashes in a bloom of sparks, and the thought is gone. Night comes heavy. The ship reeks of rum and blood, of smoke and fear. Men drink deep, their laughter jagged as broken glass, and fight over silver spoons, over scraps of silk torn from the dead. You sit apart, nursing a cup that tastes of fire and iron, and listen to the coughing. It starts soft, like the rustle of rats in the hold, then grows. A rough chorus rising from the shadows below. Fever. By dawn, it has a face. One of the foremast hands sprawls on the planks, his skin flushed red, lips cracked, eyes rolling white. His breath rattles like stones in a bucket. Sweat beads on his chest, trickles through the grime, like rain over rock. The surgeon crouches beside him, hands shaking as he fumbles for his saw, though God knows what good that rusty blade will do against a sickness you cannot carve away. They move him below, but the stench creeps up anyway. Sweet, foul, clinging to your tongue like spoiled fruit. Another man follows by noon, then another. each carried limp as a sack of meal, their bodies burning like coal even as their teeth chatter in the heat. The surgeon swears it's the flux, maybe Yellow Jack. No one believes him. You see the fear in his eyes, how he scrubs his hands raw until they bleed. And you know the truth. He doesn't know at all. The crew grows quiet. No more dice rattling on deck. No more bawdy songs. Men whisper over mugs of water gone stale, glancing toward the hatch as if it hides some beast that might slither free. The prize, rich as it was, lies ignored, its silks and silver dulled by the stink of sickness. Even rum cannot burn away the taste of dread. You take the night watch to escape the heat below. The sky yawns black and endless, stars cold as flint. The sea whispers under the hull, a sound that once soothed but now chills you to the marrow. The wind smells wrong, faint, metallic, like blood left too long in the sun. You pace the deck until your legs ache, counting steps like beads on a rosary, though prayer feels hollow here. Behind you, the hatch creaks. A shadow lurches into lantern light. One of the sick, his shirt clinging dark with sweat, his eyes wild and bright as fever fire. He grips the rail with trembling hands, breath rasping like torn sails. Water. He croaks, but his voice is already far away, lost in some burning dream. You step toward him, hand outstretched, and in that moment he pitches forward, head striking wood with a crack like a breaking spar. Blood seeps slow and dark, mingling with tar. By dawn, they toss 3 more into the sea. No shrouds, no words. Just the hollow splash, and the endless hiss of waves swallowing what was once a man. The surgeon mutters of contagion, his voice a dry whisper as he warns the captain. Keep clear of the sick, or we'll all rot before we see land. But how do you keep clear when this ship is all the world you have? Days stretch thin and brittle. The fever takes 1, then 2, then 5, each burning bright and brief as a struck match before guttering into ash. The forecastle stinks of vomit and fear, of men praying through cracked lips to gods who have long turned their faces away. You sleep in snatches, haunted by the rasp of breath, the dull thud of bodies on wood, the whisper of the surgeon saw in the dark. One evening, you wake to silence so deep it feels like a weight on your chest. No cough, no groan, nothing but the lap of water and the faint creak of timbers. For a heartbeat, you think the fever has burned itself out. Then you smell it. Thicker now, sweeter, like meat gone bad in summer heat. You follow the stench below and see them, huddled shapes in the lantern glow, eyes glazed, mouths gaping in rictus smiles. The surgeon sits among them, his apron stiff with blood, his hands empty. His voice is soft, almost tender. Too many. You stare at him, at the heap of sawdust clumped with the dark clots, and feel the ship tilt beneath your feet. Not from the sea, but from something hollowed out inside you. Above, footsteps pound. A shout splits the night, sharp with terror. Sail! Sail on the larboard bow! You run, breath tearing your throat, heart a hammer in your chest. And when you reach the deck, you see it, white against the blood-red sunset, growing larger, closer, like salvation or damnation. You cannot tell which. The sail looms against the horizon, pale and perfect in the dying light, its edges glowing crimson as the sun sinks into the sea. For an instant, the sight burns like hope in your chest, sharp and bright enough to hurt. Men stagger from the shadows, faces hollow, eyes wide and fever bright, their voices cracking with something between joy and terror. Merchantmen, someone croaks, fat and ripe. But you know better. Hope turns bitter on your tongue, because ships out here do not come without teeth. The captain's spyglass glints as he snaps it shut, his jaw set like iron. East India man. He growls. armed and riding deep. She's heavy with trade goods, or soldiers. The word hangs like a blade over your head. Soldiers, muskets, powder, discipline. Not starving men crawling on bleeding gums. Not hands trembling from fever and rum. You glance along the deck and see the truth written plain. Hollow cheeks, lips split to ribbons, skin yellow with sickness. You smell it too, even above the salt wind. The sweet rot of fever sweat, clinging to every rope and ragged scrap of canvas. Still, the captain's eyes blaze like fire in a skull. He raises his voice, cutting through the whisper of waves. We take her before she knows we breathe. One prize like this, and we'll drink ourselves fat on shore. Now, silence. The men obey, though their hands shake as they haul rope, as they slither up the ratlines like ghosts. The black gull glides through water black as oil, her sails trimmed close, her timbers whispering like secrets. The night folds around you, thick and heavy, stars paling behind low, ragged clouds. You move with it, heart pounding, breath shallow, your cutlass slick in your grip, though no blood yet stains its edge. The enemy looms now, vast and silent, lanterns swaying like watchful eyes. You hear voices, faint as the sigh of wind, the creak of her yards, the slap of her hull against the swell. A city afloat, fat with plunder and death. Then the order, soft as sin. Board her quiet, no guns. Hooks swing black against the sky, biting deep with a hiss of hemp. You cross the gap on a rope slick with spray, boots landing on strange planks that tremble beneath you. Shadows flicker across the deck as men spill like smoke, blades gleaming, jaws clenched. You hear a gasp, a shout cut short by steel, and then the night explodes. The merchant crew fights like cornered wolves. Muskets roar, smoke boiling thick as fog, the stench of powder burning your lungs raw. You lunge through the haze, cutlass hacking, the deck pitching under your feet. Steel clangs, splinters fly, blood arcs warm across your knuckles. A man swings at your head. You duck, feel the blade whistle past your scalp, and drive yours up under his ribs. He jerks once, twice, breath bubbling red, and folds like wet cloth. Around you, chaos. A lantern smashes, spilling fire that licks hungrily along tarred rope. Screams tangle with the roar of flames, the thunder of boots, the guttural curses torn from raw throats. The smell of burning pitch claws at your nostrils, mixing with blood and sweat, until you gag behind your teeth. Then, through the smoke, you see her, their captain, coat flaring, saber flashing bright as lightning. He moves like water, cutting men down as if they were reeds in a gale. Yours meets his for an instant, steel shivering, sparks spitting between you like angry stars. He snarls a curse in some tongue you do not know, teeth bared, breath hot and sour against your face. For a heartbeat, the world shrinks to that. His eyes, black and bottomless, the hiss of steel singing death. You twist, drive hard, feel the jar of bone against your blade. His cry is sharp and short, his blood hot on your hand. He stumbles, clutching his side, and vanishes under the press of bodies. You do not look back. You cannot. When the smoke clears, it is done. The deck is a butcher's yard, slick with gore and littered with limbs. Bodies sprawl in grotesque shapes, faces frozen in rictus masks of rage and terror. Yours stands over them, shoulders heaving, lungs tearing for air that tastes of ash and iron. The prize is yours, but the cost hangs heavy. Half your own lie still or dying, their moans threading through the night like broken music. You stagger to the rail, spitting blood and bile into a sea black as the pit. The stars stare down cold and pitiless. Below, the surgeon works by lantern light, his saw rasping, his hands slick with red. You hear the wet thud of something falling. A leg, an arm, and the hollow sob that follows. Fever will claim the rest, you think, even as men cheer hoarsely over chests of silver and bales of silk. You close your eyes, but the darkness behind them swirls red. The roar of flames echoes still in your ears. The stench of blood clings to your skin, and deep inside you something twists like a rope pulled too tight. Above, dawn bruises the sky purple and gray. The wind stirs, smelling faintly of rain, and with it comes a sound that chills your bones. A low, ragged cough behind you, close as your shadow. The cough is soft at first, almost lost beneath the groan of timbers and the slap of waves, but it roots in your gut like a thorn. You turn, slow, and there he is. Rook, the youngest of the lot, barely more than a boy, his face pale under the grime, his lips cracked and bleeding. He tries to grin, to shape some jest on his raw throat, but it comes out as a wheeze that turns into another cough. Deep, tearing, wet. You see the red on his palm when he pulls it away. Blood, bright as new-forged iron, glistening in the gray dawn light. A silence falls around him like frost. Men who were laughing a moment ago. Hoarse, broken laughter over silver coins and stolen silk. Edge back, their eyes sliding from his face as though it burns. Rook's grin falters. He looks at you, and there's a question in his gaze, one that claws at you harder than hunger ever did. Am I already dead? The surgeon appears then, a rag tied over his mouth, hands slick with old blood that no amount of seawater can wash away. He squats beside Rook, peels open his shirt with a blade. The boy's chest shines with sweat, ribs sharp as cage bars. Purple blotches bloom under the skin, livid and spreading like spilled ink. The surgeon mutters low, words you cannot catch, but the tone says enough. He takes Rook below, without meeting your eyes. By noon, the cough is everywhere. In the forecastle, in the gun deck, even in the whisper of men's voices when they speak of water or rum. It threads through the ship like smoke, curling into every dark corner. Fever. Flux. Call it what you will. It has its claws in the crew now. No prize rich enough to buy it off. No steel sharp enough to cut it away. You keep to the deck, working until your hands bleed just to drown the thought of what festers below. The sea is flat as glass. The sky a white blaze that sears your eyes and turns the air thick as molten lead. Sweat pours off you, soaking your linen, stinging your skin where salt has split it raw. Barrels of water stand lashed by the mainmast, each dipperful warm and rank, tasting of mildew and iron. Still, you drink, because thirst scalds worse than pride. Food grows scarce again. Hardtack black with mold, crawling with weevils you no longer bother to pick out. Salt pork gone slick and stinking, fat congealed like candle wax. You chew it slow, jaw aching, swallowing against the bile that rises each time. And always, beneath the taste of rot and brine, the copper tang of fear. The captain keeps his silence now. His coat hangs loose on his frame, boots scuffed raw, eyes sunk deep and glittering with something you cannot name. He paces the quarterdeck like a man chained to his own ghost, his spyglass clutched in a hand that trembles only when he thinks no one sees. By the second night, the moaning drifts up from the hold, soft and broken, weaving through the creak of spars and the sigh of ropes. You lie in your hammock, staring at the black curve of the hull above, listening to the sound of men dying slow in the dark. Sweat beads on your brow, trickles cold down your spine. Every rasp of breath you hear feels like a whisper against your own skin. You press your fist to your mouth to keep from screaming. At dawn, 3 more go over the side. They don't even bother with coins for the eyes now, or prayers. Just a splash and the hiss of waves closing over faces you'll never see again. The surgeon says nothing. His hands shake as he wipes them on his apron. Red-brown stains, stiff, like old rust. His eyes look like glass, clear and dead. The air below decks grows foul. Heat and sickness and something sweet that curdles in your throat. The surgeon burns herbs in tin cups, their smoke bitter as wormwood. But it does nothing. Men lie sprawled in hammocks like broken dolls, lips black and cracked, eyes filmed over. Some mutter nonsense, names of wives, of children, of streets that seem like dreams now. Others do not move at all, except when the rats grow bold. You climb back to the deck, gagging on the stench, and breathe deep of the open air, only to taste the same rot there, faint but creeping, as if the ship itself is sick. The planks sweat pitch, black and sticky under your boots. Mildew blooms green on the ropes. Even the sea feels wrong, flat, sullen, green as old brass. And when you look too long into it, you think you see shapes sliding deep below, pale and boneless as drowned men. By evening, whispers coil through the crew like snakes, that the prize was cursed, that the blood spilled on her deck brought the plague. Some speak of turning back, of making for any port with a shred of hope left. Others hiss of killing the sick, throwing them over before the fever takes the whole lot. You hear it all in silence, your hands gripping the rail until the wood bites deep. And then, as the sun sinks like a coal into the horizon, you hear the captain's voice, a low growl, ragged, almost mad. "Land," he says, and his finger jabs toward a smudge on the edge of the world. It is small, black against the molten sky, nothing more than a tooth of rock rising from the endless green. But to men starved for hope, it is a kingdom. Cheers rip through the dusk, thin, cracked, desperate cheers that scrape your bones like nails on wood. Men stagger to the rigging, hauling canvas with hands raw and bleeding, their voices breaking as they shout for life, for land, for anything but this floating grave. The wind freshens, snapping the sails taut, and the black gull surges forward, timbers groaning, foam boiling from her bow like white fire. Your heart hammers as the island swells against the dark, black cliffs knifing up from the sea, crowned with a tangle of green. Rain begins to fall, soft at first, then hard as shot, drumming the deck, plastering your shirt to your skin. You tilt your face up and drink, the water sweet as mercy on your cracked lips. Around you, men laugh like madmen, mouths open to the sky. For a moment, it feels like grace. But when lightning slashes the clouds and lays the island bare in its blue-white glare, you see something that chills your blood to ice. Not a beach, not a bay, just black rock, sheer and merciless, and the boil of waves that pound it to foam. The laughter dies as quick as it rose, strangled in throats raw from salt and sickness. Men stare through the rain, their grins cracked wide into rictus masks, the hope bleeding out of their eyes like water through a sieve. The island looms close now, black cliffs clawing at the sky, slick with rain and writhing vines that twist like serpents. Foam lashes the rocks in white fury, each wave striking with the roar of cannon fire. There is no harbor, no beach, no promise of shelter, only teeth of stone grinning up from a boiling sea. The captain stands rigid on the quarterdeck, his hair plastered black against his skull, his coat heavy with rain. The spyglass trembles in his hand as he lowers it, and for a breath you think, hope, doubt, despair. But then his jaw sets like iron, and his voice slices through the downpour. "We hold off till morning." A groan rolls through the crew, low and hollow, like the ship herself mourning. Men slump against the rail, their bodies sagging like empty sacks. The rain drums harder, warm as blood, and in its hiss you hear the whisper of fever creeping from below, steady as the tide. Night folds over the ship like a black sail. The lanterns gutter in the wind, throwing shadows that lurch and twitch like broken men across the slick planks. You take the watch because you cannot sleep, not with the moans drifting up from the hold, not with the memory of the surgeon's hands slick as butchers work. The rain eases to a mist, cold and clinging, seeping into your bones like rot. You pace the deck, boots squelching in water that pools black between the seams. The ropes drip steady as clock beats, and the timbers groan under the slow grind of the swell. The air tastes of rust and brine and something else, sweet and foul, the breath of death crawling out from below. You swallow hard and glance toward the hatch. Darkness yawns there, thick as pitch, and in it, the whisper of voices, muttering, fevered, words that scrape like claws against your skull. When the hatch slams, you spin, cutlass half drawn. A figure staggers into the lantern glow. A man, or what's left of one. His shirt hangs in rags from a chest blotched purple, his lips split in black, teeth grinning in a mask of blood. His eyes burn like coals in pits of yellow, and his breath rasps wet as the sea. Behind him, shadows writhe. More men, crawling like dogs, their fingers hooked, nails black with filth. You back away, throat tight, but they do not follow. They only watch, swaying, their faces gleaming in the guttering light like masks carved from rot. Then, the hatch yawns wide, and they slither down again, into the dark that swallows them whole. The silence after is worse than their whispers. By dawn, the air below is poison. They say the fever cooks the flesh, that it boils men alive from the inside. You do not need words. You smell it, the reek of sweat gone sweet, of blood turned sour, of meat left to rot under a summer sun. The surgeon has stopped working. His tools lie in a heap of rust and clotted filth. His hands limp in his lap as he stares with eyes empty as old glass. The captain orders the sick thrown over. His voice cracks on the last word, but he does not waver. Men mutter, spit, curse, but they obey, because what else is there? They drag the bodies up like sacks of meal, some still twitching, lips moving in prayers that sound like curses. You help, because if you don't, you'll break. And there is no room for breaking here. You grip arms slick with sweat, shoulders hot as fire under your hands, and heave them over the rail. The sea takes them quick. No struggle, no cry, just a hiss as foam swallows their faces. When the last splash dies, the silence yawns wide as the sky. The crew stands hollow-eyed and dripping, the rain washing blood in thin pink rivers across the planks. Someone laughs then, a high crack sound that skitters down your spine like a blade. No one joins him. The laugh dies in his throat, strangled by the hush. The captain turns, his face carved from stone, and says one word, East. His voice is a rasp, barely more than wind through rope, but it binds the men tighter than chains. Sails rise like shrouds, snapping in the freshening breeze, and the black gull swings her prow from the island's teeth toward a horizon that smolders red under the rising sun. The wind is good. The ship flies like a soul chased by devils, spray hissing at her bow, rigging shrieking as if in pain. The rain sweeps eastward in silver sheets, the sky a vault of iron, and the sea rolls black and sullen beneath. You work until your hands are raw, until the burn in your muscles drowns the fever echo in your skull. But you cannot drown it all. Not the cough threading through the wind. Not the stares of men whose eyes shine fever bright in faces hollow as death. By nightfall, the horizon blooms with thunder. Clouds tower like mountains, their bellies bruised purple, their edges blazing white in the lightning's glare. The air hums with a heat that prickles your skin, that makes the hair crawl on your neck. The smell of ozone slices sharp through the rot, and in your belly something twists cold as iron. The storm breaks with a roar like a world tearing open. Wind howls through the rigging, ripping canvas to tatters. Rain lashes like a scourge, each drop a needle driving deep. Waves rear black and monstrous, their crests veined with ghost fire, hurling the ship skyward, then plunging her into valleys of green death. The masts groan like tortured bones, the yards shriek, and the deck bucks under your boots like a beast gone mad. You cling to the shrouds, fingers bloodless on the rope, your breath ripped from your lungs by the storm's scream. Lightning splits the sky, white and merciless, laying bare faces twisted in rictus masks of fear. The thunder follows like cannon fire, shaking your bones loose in their sockets. And through the chaos, a voice cuts, thin, high, broken with terror. Water's coming in. You twist, and your gut turns to stone. The black gull is taking the sea. The cry cuts through the storm like a knife, and for a breath the world tilts sharper, as if the sea itself hears and hungers. Men stagger across the slick deck, boots slamming against planks that heave underfoot like a dying beast. You feel it even through your bones. The hollow boom of water pounding the hull, the groan of timbers strained beyond their mercy. Buckets! Pumps! The captain's voice roars above the wind, ragged, raw, torn from a throat that tastes of salt and blood. Men scatter like startled gulls, some hauling the chain pumps, others plunging below with buckets clutched in white-knuckled hands. You follow, boots skidding, the hatch yawning black as a grave mouth. The heat hits first, thick, wet, foul. Then the stench, a wave of rot and sickness that punches the breath from your lungs. You gag but keep moving, feet splashing into water that surges dark and cold around your shins. Lantern light shivers across the flood, casting ripples of gold over floating rags. Scraps of meat, you pray, are not what you think. The hold is a pit of shadows and ruin, hammocks sagging heavy with shapes that do not stir, ropes snaking limp from beams black with mildew. You seize a bucket, plunge it deep, fling the brine in a wild arc toward the hatch. Over and over your arms burn, your back screams, your breath comes in ragged gasps that taste of copper and bile. Around you, men grunt, curse, choke, as they bail, like madmen against the sea clawing at the ship's guts. Water slaps cold against your thighs now, licking higher with every roll. Somewhere above, the storm howls like all hell's choirs, wind hammering the hull till nails scream in their sockets. Pump! Pump, damn you! Someone bellows, but the chain jams, teeth grinding in protest, and a voice shrieks sharp with panic. She's not moving! She's choking on it! Lightning rips the sky open, white fire pouring through the hatch, and for an instant the hold blazes bright. A vision burned into your skull. Faces pale as wax, eyes staring blind from sockets sunk deep. The dead drift like broken dolls, hair streaming in black halos, limbs brushing your knees in the surge. One mouth gapes as if to speak, teeth black, tongue swollen purple, a whisper curling out between the thunder. You'll join us soon. You lurch back, breath tearing your throat raw, and slam against the ladder, clutching at its slime-slick rungs. Up, up, away from that reek of death, from water gnawing the bones of the ship like rats in the dark. The deck bursts under your boots, rain lashing like molten lead, wind shrieking through rigging shredded to black ribbons. The sky is a furnace of stormlight, clouds boiling purple and white, waves rearing black and fanged as devils. Cut her free! The captain roars from the quarterdeck, his coat snapping like a torn flag, his hair plastered white with salt. Lighten her, or we drown. Men slash at lines, heave chests of silver and bales of silk over the side, their treasures vanishing in froth like dreams torn from sleep. The sea swallows greed whole, cares nothing for plunder. A wave smashes broadside, a wall of green fire crowned in foam, and the deck goes out from under you. You fly, weightless for a heartbeat, then slam down hard enough to see stars explode behind your eyes. Salt burns your lungs, your nose, your mouth, You're choking, clawing at planks slick as ice, nails ripping raw. Hands seize you, drag you upright, shove a rope in your grip. You cling like a drowning rat as the ship rears again, her masts thrashing wild against a sky alive with fire. Then comes the sound that stops the blood in your veins, the crack of timber splitting, sharp as cannon fire. You whip your head and see it. The foremast, shuddering like a wounded beast, its shrouds snapping one by one with screams like flayed sinew. Men scatter, eyes wide, but too late. With a roar like worlds ending, the mast tears free, plunges through the air, and smashes down in a bloom of sparks and splinters. Screams rip through the storm, cut short in a geyser of foam. The deck tilts, heels, and for a breath you think she's going under. That this is the end, black and cold and screaming. But the black gull fights like a soul that will not yield. She wrenches upright with a groan that shakes the marrow of your bones, riding a crest high enough to scrape the belly of God, then plunges, slamming into the trough with a force that tears the breath from your chest. All night you fight, ropes burning your palms to meet, muscles screaming, eyes blind with salt. You lash what's left of the rigging, hack away the wreckage, pump till your arms are nothing but bone and fire. And still the sea comes, roaring, laughing, clawing for your soul. Then, as the first ash-gray smear of dawn bleeds into the east, the wind shifts, the rage gutters low, the rain thins to a spitting hiss, and the waves sink from mountains to hills to heaving plains of iron green. The black gull limps through the swell like a corpse on the tide, her masts shattered stumps, her canvas hanging in ribbons black with soot. The deck is a shambles of rope and wreck, blood and splintered spars, bodies strewn like broken toys. You stand swaying, every bone a bruise, every breath a blade in your chest. Around you, the survivors move like ghosts, eyes hollow, skin waxed with salt and fear. They do not speak. There is nothing left to say. Then a voice, thin as a whisper, threads through the hush. Water's gone foul. You turn, slow, and see a man crouched by the cask, staring into a scum of green and black. His hands shake as he dips the ladle, lifts it to the light. Worms writhe in the slime like white fire. He lets it fall with a splash that sounds louder than thunder. Thirst gnaws your gut raw. Fever lurks in every breath. Behind you, the sun claws its way up, a pitiless coin hammered on the anvil of the sky. And the horizon? Empty, endless. And for the first time, you wonder if the stories were wrong. Not that a pirate's life ends in blood and cannon smoke, but in this: thirst, silence, and the slow rot of men waiting to die. Then, from the crow's nest, a cry shatters the stillness. High, cracked, half mad. Land! You lift your head, and there it is, crawling out of the haze. A smudge of green, shimmering like a mirage. Hope sears you like a brand. But deep inside, something cold whispers. What waits there may be worse. The cry cracks open the silence like a musket shot, and for a heartbeat the crew stares as if struck dumb. Then the deck erupts, boots pounding, voices shredding the air in ragged cheers. Men claw for the rail, for rigging, for the faint gleam of green smudged against the molten rim of the world. Land. A word like a prayer, like the first taste of rum after months of thirst. You cling to the shrouds, staring until your eyes blur. It is there, no trick of sun and sea. A rise of dark green swelling from the silver haze, crowned with the jagged black of cliffs. Palms maybe, or some hellish jungle knotted thick as rope. The wind noses from the west, soft as a breath, enough to belly what scraps of canvas still cling to the stumps of masts. The black gull crawls, broken and blind, her wounds gaping black where spars once soared proud. The captain grips the rail, his knuckles white. his coat hanging like a shroud from bones sharp as nails. He does not cheer. His jaw knots, his eyes locked on that smear of salvation, with the glare of a man who knows the sea gives nothing free. At last, his voice grinds out low, harsh as rope through raw palms. Make for it, every rag of sail you've got. The crew stirs like beaten dogs. They lash splinters of yard to stumps, knot torn canvas with fingers split and black. Curse the ropes that burn their hands bloody. You work among them, muscles screaming with every pull, your breath rasping in a throat raw from salt. Sweat trickles, stinging the sores that bloom on your gums, the joints that ache like rusted hinges. The fever walks close now. You smell it in the air, sweet and foul. Taste it in the cask water that crawls with worms. The sun climbs, a white furnace hammering the sea flat as beaten tin. Heat pools on the deck in shimmering veils, blurring the wreck of rigging, the gaunt shapes of men crouched like carrion birds around the pumps. Your tongue is a strip of leather, cracking when you speak. Some drink the slime from the scummed barrels, gagging it down with eyes wide and desperate. Others don't bother, just lie in the shade of splintered spars, lips blue, staring at the sky as if it might open and spill rain enough to drown the thirst clawing their bellies. By afternoon, the green smudge swells into shape, a humped back of jungle bristling like a beast's spine. Black cliffs streaked white with gull droppings, foam snarling at their feet. No smoke, no huts, no sign of man. A nameless scrap of hell flung on the rim of the world. But to starving throats, it shines like gold. The captain calls the boats over the side. 2 only. The longboat and the jolly, warped and tar-cracked but still afloat. Men fight for the thwarts, their voices ragged, fists slamming against skull and jaw with dull, meaty cracks. Blood spatters the deck. The bosun lays about with a marline spike, splitting scalps till order stumbles back on its legs. At last, 12 are picked by lot, their eyes wild with triumph or terror. You cannot tell which. You are among them. The boat drops like a stone, slamming into a sea that heaves green and slick as serpent hide. Oars bite deep, foam boiling white at the blades as you pull. Every stroke tearing fire through your arms, ripping sweat down your spine. The black gull dwindles behind, a black skeleton swaying against a sky bruised purple with stormlight. Ahead, the island swells, its cliffs sheer as walls, veined with waterfalls that gleam like silver knives in the sun. Closer now, you hear the roar, the pound of surf against rock, a sound that shivers your marrow. Spray leaps in plumes white as musket smoke, thundering down into chasms, black as cannon mouths. No beach, no bay, just teeth of stone grinding the sea to froth. The longboat bucks like a spooked horse, green combers lifting, hurling her sidewise, smashing spray across your face sharp as glass. Port side, pull, pull, ye devils. The bosun's bellow lashes the gale. You dig till your nails rip, till blisters burst and blood greases the oar, heart hammering with a fear sharp enough to taste. The cliffs tower overhead now, dripping with weed and slime, their faces crawling with vines thick as hawsers. Birds wheel in shrieking swarms, white wings flashing, their cries like laughter, mad, jeering laughter. Then, a break, a slit in the cliff, narrow as a knife gash, where the surf sucks and vomits in heaves of foam. A channel, or a grave. The bosun points, his face a mask of salt and blood. There! Shove her in! You throw your back till it feels like tearing, lungs clawing for air thick with spray and rot. The longboat spins, surges, shoots like an arrow into the gut of the rock. Darkness slams down, walls rearing black and dripping, the roar of surf a beast in your skull. Water lashes the boat, hammering, hurling her against slime-slick stone till timbers scream. You clutch the thwarts, teeth rattling as she bucks and writhes through the throat of that chasm. Then, all at once, the roar falls to a mutter, the dark yawns wide, and you burst into a still green pool cradled in black stone. Ferns curtain the cliffs, their fronds dripping emerald fire in the half-light. Beyond, a spit of sand crouches like a pale tongue between the jaws of jungle. Trees loom behind it. Palms, yes, but twisted, knotted, their crowns writhing in a wind you cannot feel. The boat grinds soft aground. For a heartbeat, no one moves. You stare at that spit of sand, at the dark beyond where vines hang like strangled serpents, where shadows pool thick as pitch. The air reeks of life gone rank, flowers sweet as rot, earth sour with the breath of things that creep. A hiss threads the hush, thin as a snake sliding through leaves. The bosun leaps ashore, boots sinking in sand pale as bone. He turns, teeth bared in something like a grin, but his eyes are black pits, and his hand grips the axe white-knuckled. "Move, damn ye!" he snarls, voice raw as torn rope. "Water first, then meat, then we live." You follow, feet sinking in the heat-soft sand, the jungle whispering, close as a breath. The boat lies behind you, rocking gentle in the tide. Ahead, the green gulps you down, vines coiling like ropes, shadows swallowing light. And as you cross that strip of bone-white beach into the dark, a thought curls in your skull, cold as the steel at your hip. Better the sea than this. The jungle takes you in like a throat. The light dies first. Even under a high sun, the canopy swallows it whole, palms arching in vast cathedral vaults, vines dangling thick as cables, ferns shoulder-high and slick with mist. The air is wet and close, thick enough to choke. Your shirt clings to your skin, salt-stiff fabric melting under the sweat that rolls in sheets down your back. Every breath tastes of mold and sap and something fainter, something sweet, like bruised fruit left too long in the sun. Behind you, the surf still mutters, muffled now by distance and leaf. The boat is gone, and with it, the last straight line to the world you knew. In its place, green, endless and shifting, the floor crawling with roots like knotted veins, the trees groaning with each breath of wind like old ships taking on water. The bosun pushes forward, machete sawing through creepers, his movements sharp and twitching. He hasn't spoken since they landed. The others follow in silence too, trudging through mud and rot with eyes wide and white in their sockets. A fly buzzes near your ear, fat, slow, its wings a blur, and lands on your cheek before you can swat it. Its legs scuttle across your skin, and when you slap it away, your fingers come away red. No one notices. No one speaks. You pass a tree, broad as a mast, its bark twisted into ridges like faces. Sap oozes from a wound in its side, thick and red as blood. A rat clings to the bark, half submerged in it, fur slick, eyes glassy. It doesn't move. The heat deepens, a wet weight pressing into your skull, turning every step to labor. Mosquitoes rise in clouds, their hum a swarm in your ears. You slap and scratch until your arms are a lace of welts, but they drink anyway, your blood mixing with the sweat that slicks your belly and drips into your eyes. At last, a shout from ahead. The line halts, breath hissing between teeth. You push past a clump of hanging vines and stumble into a clearing. Bare earth, soft and wet underfoot, ringed by trees knotted so tight they lean inward, branches tangled like claws. At the center, water. A pool, no wider than a longboat is long, black and still as glass. The surface reflects nothing. It absorbs light. It waits. The bosun kneels at the edge, scoops a handful to his lips. The others rush forward, heedless, knees sinking in the soft muck. They drink like animals, face down in the dark, slurping deep. You hesitate. The air smells wrong, sweet and sharp, like vinegar and spoiled fruit. But your tongue is a dry rag in your mouth, your teeth aching in your gums, breath like ash. You kneel, hands trembling, and scoop the water. It's warm, slick, almost thick. You raise it to your lips, hesitate, and drink. It coats your throat like oil, bitter at first, then sweet, cloying. It does not quench. It lingers. But the thirst, for now, dulls. You wipe your mouth with the back of your hand and stare into the pool. Beneath the surface, things drift. Shadows, long and slow moving. Maybe fish, maybe not. Behind you, someone begins to retch. You turn. It's Johnette, the older one with the crushed nose, on hands and knees, vomiting dark strings into the undergrowth. He gags again, eyes bulging, and then falls sideways, twitching. Foam strings from his lips. His boots kick mud. No one moves. No one helps. The bosun stares with his teeth bared, not in fear, but in something like grim expectation. When Johnette stills, breath shallow, the bosun speaks at last. Some stomachs ain't meant for island water. He turns, machete raised again. Move! You leave Johnette where he lies, the flies already descending. Hours pass, or maybe days. Time stretches thin in the green. Your legs throb with each step. Your eyes sting from the sweat, and your gut twists in waves. Hunger curls tighter now. You eat whatever you can find. Fruit hanging in waxy clusters, roots dug from the black earth. One is sweet. The next burns. One turns your mouth numb for an hour. But it's something. Birds scream overhead, sharp human sounds, like laughter or cries. Monkeys, maybe, but you see none. Only the rustle of leaves, the flash of something pale through the vines. Eyes, watching. You make camp in a hollow under roots, the sky beyond the canopy bruised purple with twilight. Fire won't catch. The wood is wet, and the wind stinks of sap and rot. So you lie in the mud, ribs sharp against your skin, breath slow and shallow. Around you, men sleep, or pretend to. One mumbles a prayer, low and broken. Another scratches at his belly until blood beads on the skin. You watch the trees, how they sway when there's no breeze, how the vines coil tighter while no one moves. You do not blink. In the dark, something moves. A rustle. A crunch. Not the wind. You rise slow, your joints aching, the machete in your hand slick with your own sweat. The sound comes again. Closer. Leaves part. A figure stands at the edge of the fireless circle. Barefoot. Hollow-eyed. Shirt soaked in blood. Johnette. His mouth opens, wide, wider than flesh should allow. But no sound comes. Only the gurgle of water. His eyes fix on you, blank, unblinking, and then he steps forward, and you see that the mud drips from his heels in long ropes, as though he's been crawling up from somewhere deep. You cannot speak. Your throat seizes. The others begin to stir, but it's too late. Johnette moves like something half-born, his limbs loose as rope, his shirt clinging dark and wet. The stench comes first, a rot so heavy it slaps your nose, sweet and foul like meat, forgotten in the sun. His head tilts in a slow, unnatural arc, and the sound in his throat rises, a bubbling hiss, wet and low, like a tide sucking through stones. The men wake one by one, their eyes glimmering in the black like coins dredged from mud. No one speaks. They only watch as Johnette takes another step, his bare feet sinking without sound in the muck. Water patters from his fingers in thin, steady drips. In the ghost light leaking through the trees, his skin glistens. Not sweat, not rain. Something thicker, something black. The bosun moves first. He's all muscle and rage, even hollowed by hunger, even with fever shining like oil in his eyes. His machete flashes as he lunges, teeth bared in a snarl. The blade meets meat with a sound soft as fruit splitting. Jonnet folds, but not all the way. His spine bows, his head lolls, and then he straightens slow, like a mast hauling upright in dead wind. The wound yawns open, spilling nothing but a thread of dark that glints green in the moonlight. Someone screams. You don't know who. The clearing erupts. Men crash through the ferns, boots slamming mud, breath rasping ragged. You run with them, the machete slick in your grip, the earth sucking at your heels. Behind you, the sound follows. Not running, not crashing, just a wet shuffle, steady as rot-eating wood. The jungle swallows you whole. Branches claw your face. Vines lash your arms. Thorns rake lines of fire down your shins. You run blind, lungs tearing, until your legs buckle and you crash into a wall of roots slick with moss. You press your spine to it, chest heaving, ears full of the pound of blood. Around you, the green hums. Flies, frogs, the whisper of leaves slick with mist. And then silence. The kind of silence that drinks sound, that tightens the skin on your neck like a noose. You lift your head slow, eyes raking the black. Shapes loom, trunks gnawed like bone, ferns shivering without wind. Something moves there. Not the shuffle now. A ripple, low to the ground. Another, pale gleams winking in the dark like eyes. You tighten your grip on the machete, teeth grinding, but the green holds its breath. Nothing comes. Not yet. When you find the others, dawn is bleeding gray through the canopy. 3 men gone. The bosun sits hunched on a fallen log, his blade rusted dark, his breath whistling between teeth clenched tight. His hands shake. Not from fear. You've seen that before. But from rage so raw it looks like hunger. He spits, a string of black trailing from his lip, and says one word. Move. You move. Because what else is there? The day crawls on its belly. Heat presses like a hand, and the air grows thicker, humming with flies that swarm in black veils over the meat of your arms. Your sweat tastes wrong now. Bitter, coppery, like blood. Your gums swell till your teeth feel loose in their beds, and every step grinds fire in your knees. You chew bark. It turns to splinters on your tongue. You drink from puddles veiled with green scum. You stop wondering what crawls in them. By dusk, the jungle opens without warning. A wide scar of sand sloping down to a lagoon green as poison glass. Mangroves claw the shallows, their roots black and twisted, their limbs clutching at a sky bruised with stormlight. The water lies still, thick as oil, its surface stippled with drifting petals white as bone. No sound but the hiss of surf beyond, far off and hungry. The bosun drops to his knees at the edge, scoops water in both hands, drinks deep. The others follow, mouths gaping, slurping like beasts. You kneel too, but stop when you see it. Beneath the film of petals, the water moves, not from wind, from something slow, sinuous, sliding deep. Shadows thick as rope, pale flashes like bellies rolling in the dark. You lift your head. On the far side, half hidden in mangrove roots, something gleams. White, not stone, not shell. Bone. A rib cage, picked clean. Its curve clasped in roots black with rot. Beside it, a skull grins, jaws yawning wide in a rictus that seems to laugh at your thirst. You rise slow, throat a knot, and back from the water. The bosun sees you, his eyes black as tar in the dusk, and bares his teeth. Drink. He hisses, voice thick, bubbling. Or rot where you stand. Then the water stirs. Petals scatter. Rings widen. From the dark below, a shape heaves. Long, smooth, pale as drowned flesh. A mouth blooms at its end, lipless, ringed with teeth fine as needles. It gapes without sound, the water weeping black from its throat. The men freeze. One chokes a scream. The bosun swings his machete, roaring, but the thing moves faster. It coils, strikes, and the lagoon erupts in thrashing foam. The bosun vanishes in a boil of green water and red, his roar drowned in a sound like silk ripping. The men scatter, crashing through roots, shrieking as more shapes slide from the dark, their bellies flashing silver white. You run. Again. Always running. Through muck and thorn, through green that grips like hands. Behind you, the screams rise, jagged and wet, splintering into silence one by one. When at last you fall, face first in the rot of the jungle floor, night has swallowed the world whole. The canopy looms black, dripping. The air throbs with the whisper of things unseen. You do not move. You scarcely breathe. You only lie there, your heart a drum of fear, and listen. Not for screams. Not for pursuit. For the whisper in the dark that is not leaves, not wind. The whisper that sounds like your name. It comes soft at first. A breath more than a sound, curling through the leaves like smoke. Your name, stretched thin, drawn out until it frays into nothing. You freeze, chest pressed to the slime of the jungle floor, breath locked tight in your throat. Every hair on your body prickles, every nerve straining in the dark. Nothing moves. Nothing stirs but the drip of water from roots coiled like veins above your head. Then the whisper comes again. Closer now, thick as honey and cold as iron, threading through the green like a worm through rot. Your name, whispered slow, tasting strange in a mouth that is not human. You lurch upright before your mind gives the order, legs buckling, hands clawing at vines slick with moss. The jungle yawns black in every direction, a tangle of trunks gnarled like bone, of creepers sagging heavy as nooses. The air clings wet and foul, buzzing with flies fat on blood, and you gag as you run, the taste of them thick in your teeth. Behind you, the whisper laughs. Not loud, not sharp, just a breath that ripples the leaves, that slides into your ears and coils behind your eyes like smoke. You run blind. Roots clutch your boots. Thorns score your shins. Branches whip your face raw. Every step tears fire through your legs. Your lungs heave like bellows. Your heart thunders so hard it drowns the hiss of the surf. If surf still lies anywhere but in the hollow of your skull. When you break into the clearing, you do not see it at first. Not through the hammer of blood behind your eyes. Not through the black fog crawling your mind. You stumble, sag to your knees in muck that sucks at your bones. And then you look up. It is there. The lagoon. The same. Or its twin, birthed from the same rot. Green water slick as oil. Petals drifting white as bone chips. Roots clutching its rim like black claws. The mangroves lean inward, their limbs netted with vines that drip and twitch like the guts of some flayed beast. The air hums low, the same sound as before, but now you know it is not insects. It is the water, whispering, calling. Shapes move below its skin, slow, sinister. Their pale backs break the surface in ripples that wink like eyes. A jaw blooms white, rimmed with teeth fine as pins, and shuts again without a sound. Another follows, and another. The lagoon stirs with them, a cauldron of silence, as if the whole black belly of the island breathes through this pool. Something breaks the surface. A hand, slim, bone pale, its nails black as rot. It reaches, gropes the air, fingers twitching slow. Then another joins it, and another, until the water blooms with them. Hands clawing at nothing, wrists melting into nothing below. You cannot move. You cannot even scream. Then you see their faces. They rise one by one, white as wax, eyes filmed like old glass, mouths sagging open in perfect silence. The bosun among them, his jaw split wide, his teeth a ragged grin, in a face eaten to bone. Another behind him, the boy, Rook, his cheeks sunk deep, his gums black and bare. They drift in a ring, their hair writhing like weed, their arms lifting slow as if to beckon. And through the hollow caves of their mouths, the whisper comes, not from throats, not from lungs, but from the black behind their teeth. Stay. You reel back, heels sinking in muck, the machete jerking wild in your fist. But the jungle stirs behind you now. A rustle, a ripple, the soft sigh of coils sliding through fern. Eyes blink in the dark. Green, gold, cold as coins in a dead man's palm. A hiss threads the air, thin and sweet, and with it, the stink of musk and rot. You turn, and for a breath, the world dies in your chest. It hangs from the trees like a rope of black fire, thicker than a mast, its scales dull with slime, its jaws blooming red as a wound. Teeth gleam in rows fine as harrows, dripping threads that hiss where they fall. Its tongue slides out, long and pale, tasting the heat of your fear. Eyes like molten brass fix you, slow, inexorable, and the whisper coils round your skull. Not your name now, but one word, deep and hollow as the sea. Down. The machete slips. Your legs fold. The stink fills your lungs, sweet and heavy. The reek of wet graves and rain-rotted meat. You feel the earth tilt. Feel the dark close like jaws. And just before it swallows you, you hear another sound. Distant. Faint. A cry that might be gulls, or men, or the ghosts of both. The surf, the sea, and something else beneath it. Thunder, far off yet coming fast, rolling through the bones of the island like drums in the deep. The whisper falters. The coils draw back, slow, reluctant. The eyes flare once, molten, then blink to black. The trees gape wide as a throat, then swallow it whole. Silence floods back, thick as pitch. You lie in the muck, shaking, your breath sawing raw in a chest that feels carved of wood. And through the hush, the whisper comes one last time. Soft, sly, curling like smoke over a corpse. Run. You do. And this time, you do not look back. You tear through the green like a mad thing, boots hammering roots, lungs ripping with every breath. The jungle lashes back. Vines claw your face. Thorns rake your arms raw. Branches whip like cat-o'-nine tails. You taste blood, copper bright on your tongue, and still you run. The whisper follows, not loud, not near, but deep in your skull, pulsing slow as a drum. Run, run, run. Light winks ahead, pale and flickering through the tangle. You crash toward it, blind with terror, until the trees spit you out onto something that burns your eyes. Sand. A spit of it, narrow as a plank, running to a lip of black rock where the surf slams white and wild. The air smells of salt and storm, sharp and raw as a knife. For a breath, you suck it in like rum, your chest heaving, your ribs screaming. And then, you see them. The men. What's left of them. 5, maybe 6, crouched in the lee of a boulder big as a house, their faces hollow as skulls, their eyes white in sockets rimmed black. They clutch cutlasses in hands that shake like reeds. And when they see you, they do not cheer, do not speak, just stare, lips drawn back from teeth in something that might once have been a grin. You stagger toward them, words clawing your throat, but the bosun's not here to hear them. You know where he lies now, split and swallowed in green water. These men know it too. You see it in their eyes, flat and black as dead tide pools. Hope's a carcass, and they've been chewing what meat was left. Where's the boat? You rasp. One man lifts a hand, slow, like a corpse hauled on a rope. He points. You follow the line of his finger, and your gut knots hard enough to tear. The boat's gone, not smashed, not sunk, Gone. Hauled back. Maybe by the ones who ran first, or maybe by the sea itself, greedy for more bones. Only the groove of the keel scars the sand, filling slow with water black as ink. A laugh bubbles from someone's throat, thin, cracked, sharp as glass. Then another joins it, and another, until the spit rings with it. A jagged music that scrapes your nerves raw. They laugh till their voices splinter, till they sag to their knees and choke on the sound. You turn from them, because if you don't, you'll cut them down just to stop that sound. And you look to the sea. The horizon's gone, blotted out by a wall of black rolling low and fast, its belly torn with veins of white fire. Thunder growls, deep and long, a sound that shakes the marrow of your bones. The wind rises, hot and wet, puffing the sand into ghosts that dance on the spit. The storm's coming, and it's coming hard. For a heartbeat, you think of the black gull, what's left of her. A skeleton ship, clawing east through seas that want her bones. Maybe she's still out there, limping blind between the teeth of the tide. Maybe she's gone down to feed the worms that coil in the trenches of the world. You'll never know. The men see the storm too. Their laughter dies like a lamp starved of oil, and the hush after is worse. They stare at you, eyes bright and broken, and in their faces you see it. The question none dare speak. Which death? The jungle behind, whispering with mouths you cannot see, or the sea ahead, black and howling, hungry for more than blood. A hand closes on your arm, hard, bone white. You turn, and the man's face is close, too close, his breath sour, his teeth black with rot. His eyes bore into yours, bright as fever fire. We stay, he hisses, spit stringing his lip. Roots and rain. Wait it out. You see it then, the madness crawling under his skin like worms in meat. The others have it too. The twitch in their jaws, the way their fingers drum the hilts of their blades. They won't wait for the storm, not for rescue. They'll carve their hope from the last warm flesh they can find. Yours. The cutlass jumps in your hand before the thought's full formed. Its edge sings once. A whisper brighter than steel should sound in this gloom. The man jerks back, eyes wide, and then he falls without a cry, his blood steaming black in the rain that starts to spit like shot on the sand. The others freeze. For a breath, the world holds. Then, they come. The spit becomes a shambles of screams and steel, of rain slashing white through the black. Blades flash, sparks spitting where iron bites iron. Blood arcs in ribbons, hot on your face, your hands, washing in crimson streaks down the hilt slick as tallow. You fight like a beast cornered, teeth bared, lungs ripping with every breath, till the hiss of rain drowns the cries and the sand runs dark and slick underfoot. When it's done, you stand alone. The storm has swallowed the sky whole, its wind a whip of salt and ice that flays your skin raw. The sea hammers the spit, boiling white, clawing at the corpses that twitch and roll like weed in the foam. You stagger to the rock, grip it till your nails tear, and lift your eyes to the black wall rearing from the deep, its heart split by a lash of white fire that blinds you to bone. The whisper comes again, not from jungle, not from beast, not from any mouth of flesh, from the wind, from the storm, from the deep beyond sight. Down, and the sea surges up to take you. The wave hits like a falling wall, cold and black, a mountain of water crowned with white teeth. It rips the breath from your chest, slams you into the rock hard enough to crack bone, then wrenches you free like a toy. You tumble, blind and weightless, through a green-black churn where sky and sea grind into one. Salt claws your throat, your lungs, your eyes. The world is foam and fury, a cauldron roaring louder than cannon fire. Up and down lose all meaning. Your arms flail, Strike nothing but cold void and coils of weed that clutch like dead hands. Something brushes your leg, slick, strong, sinuous, and is gone. Panic shreds what breath remains. You kick, claw, your chest a furnace bursting for air. Then, light, pale and far, quivering like a coin on glass. You heave toward it, ribs screaming, blood howling in your skull. Fingers break the surface, then your face, and you rip air into your lungs in a scream that no one hears. The sea smashes it from your mouth, hurls you into another trough, another tower of water toppling black from the sky. The storm rages without mercy. Thunder cracks like a god's laughter, white fire ripping the dark into shards. Rain slashes like knives, hammering your skull till it feels caved in. Waves rear and fall, heaving you up in wild arcs, then plunging you down where the green closes over like a grave. Time dies in the storm. Minutes or hours. It's all one endless howl. One blind struggle with black water and the taste of your own blood. The cold eats deeper, gnawing bone, stiffening your limbs till they jerk slow, heavy as lead. Thought flickers dim, then gutters low, a lamp drowning in oil. You dream walking, streets wet with rain, faces blurred, voices calling your name in tongues you've never known. Something looms out of the dark, a shadow vast as a cliff. Your numb hands strike wood, raw and splintered. A hull, the black gull, or her ghost. You cling, nails ripping, teeth chattering till they shatter sparks in your skull. The planks rise like a wall, slick with weed and slime, groaning under the pound of waves. You claw, climb, slip, fall, claw again till your fingers hook iron. A rung, rusted, but real. You drag yourself up, ribs grinding, breath tearing like old sailcloth. Over the rail at last, and you sprawl on planks that shudder under your cheek. They're slick as guts, stinking of pitch and blood, but they hold. You lie there, chest heaving, coughing brine till your throat bleeds. The storm howling its triumph in the shrouds above. When you lift your head, the world is black iron hammered with fire. The sea boils white to the rim of night. The sky a furnace of storm ripped by veins of light. The gull reads the swell like a corpse on tide, her masts jagged stumps, her rigging a snarl of ropes black with rot. Lanterns gutter in the wind, flaring sickly gold on faces that loom and vanish. Men or ghosts, you cannot tell. Their eyes glimmer pale as fish bellies, their mouths yawning wide without sound. You crawl to the mainmast, clutch it like a crucifix, and haul yourself upright. Your legs shake, your teeth grind like cogs, your breath rattles thin as wind in dead leaves. You peer through the storm's white roar and see no living man. Only shapes hunched on coils of rope, sprawled across hatches, slumped in the lee of guns that gape black and blind. Their hair streams wet, their coats drip slime, their flesh pale and puffy with rot. The wind tears a laugh from your throat, a cracked broken bark that flies to the black vault and dies. You are alone. Alone on a hulk gnawed hollow by death, adrift in a world stripped to bone and storm. The thought curls round your spine like ice, sinking fangs deep. You stumble to the hatch, wrench it wide. Darkness yawns, rank with the stench of wet wood and something fouler, meat gone sweet, fat, thick with worms. You gag, clutching the combing, but the dark gapes on, bottomless, as if the sea itself waits below, patient as hunger. A whisper coils up from it, thin, sly, slick as eelskin. Down. You slam the hatch, nails tearing. The whisper laughs, a sound soft as silk ripping. The deck bucks, hurling you against the rail. Beyond it, the sea flares white, lit by a lash of fire that splits the sky. And in that glare, you see something that sears your eyes. Not a wave, not foam. something rising. It heaves from the trough slow as birth, black as the pit, glistening with slime and moonfire. Higher, higher, until it blots half the storm. Its back a mountain of scaled plates slick with green. Water sluices from it in cataracts, hissing where it falls. And then a head lifts, vast and blunt, its jaws yawning red, its teeth rows of white spears slick as polished bone. Eyes flare molten in the dark, eyes older than salt, colder than the trench. The sea shudders under it, boiling white with fear. Thunder cracks, light lashes the black, and for an instant, you see the truth carved in fire. The island was only its shadow. You cling to the rail, breath frozen in your chest, the storm screaming round your skull like a choir of damned. And in that howl, deep and hollow, a voice rolls, a sound that shakes the marrow from your bones, that gnaws the soul from its shell. Down. The wave comes with it, towering, roaring, black as the grave. The gull lifts, heels, splits her timbers in a scream that drowns in thunder. The sea rises to swallow sky, and you with it, flung like a splinter into the black maw of the deep. The last thing you see is fire, white fire ripping the dark, laying bare the beast's vast coils, unrolling like the roots of hell. And then the light dies, and the sea slams its jaws shut. The world ends in black water and iron weight. You tumble blind through a maw of foam, every sense ripped raw by the sea's fury. Salt scorches your throat, your lungs, your eyes. The cold bites deep, sharper than steel, clamping your chest till your ribs feel splintered. Up and down are nothing now, just the endless crush, the hammer of waves beating thought to pulp. You claw through the dark, but your arms drag like chains, heavy, boneless. Something brushes your hand, slick, cold, coiling slow. Not weed, not rope, a muscle thick as oak, rippling under skin scaled and slimy as pitch. You jerk, kick, but the black grips tighter, velvet and iron in one, winding round your thigh with a strength that hums through your bones. A voice rolls through the dark, not in your ears, but inside your skull, deep and hollow as the trench. Words without tongue, without breath, coiling soft as smoke through the meat of your mind. Down. The cold swallows you whole. It gnaws your marrow, seeps into your blood like ink. Your heart slows, its drum a dim, faltering beat. The black thickens, grows heavy, pressing from every side like sodden wool. Thought flickers low, sputters out. You drift, limbs limp, eyes wide, staring blind into a dark alive with whispers. Faces bloom there, pale, grinning, hair streaming like weed. The boy, Rook, his gums black, his eyes blind pearls. The bosun behind him, his jaw a ragged grin, his throat yawning wide where the machete kissed it. Their mouths gape, spilling nothing but a hush that hums in time with the coils stroking your bones. Around them, more faces, dozens, hundreds, men you knew, men you never saw, all white as wax, their teeth gleaming in smiles soft as wrought. The coils tighten, not crushing, not yet, just holding, tender as a mother's arms. The voice curls close, brushing the raw meat of your mind like silk. No hunger here, no thirst, no pain, only rest, only the deep. Something stirs in you, weak, feeble as a candle guttering on a grave. A spark, a word. No. It rasps in your skull, thin as wire, but it holds. You thrash, once, twice, your limbs jerking like a puppet's on cut strings. The coil flexes, amused, the water booming with a laugh low as thunder. Then light, far above, flickering, faint as a dying wick. A tear in the black quivering gold. Air, life. The word flares in you like fire and tinder. You wrench, kick, claw, with nails split to meet. The coil slackens, just enough, whether from mockery or some old law of the abyss, you do not know. You drive upward, your chest a furnace screaming for breath, your skull ringing with the beast's whisper. Down. You will come down. The dark thins to gray, to green, to a glare that sears your eyes. You break the skin of the sea with a sob that shreds your throat raw. Air rips into your lungs like knives, hot and cold in one. You heave, cough, spew brine, flailing like a hooked fish on a tide black with storm. The world reels. A sky split with fire, clouds boiling purple. The sea a plane of iron hammered by white fists. Wreckage heaves on its back. Spar, plank, torn sail black with soot. No gull, no men, nothing but bones of wood and the scream of wind. You seize a spar, clutch it till your nails tear. It bucks, rolls, smashes your ribs till they grind like cogs. But it holds. You cling as the night roars, as the storm lashes till your blood runs ice. Hours, or years, crawl past, gnawing you hollow. The wind dies by inches. The thunder gutters out, muttering in the deeps. When dawn comes, it limps on the bones of a world drowned gray. The sky hangs low, leaden, streaked with ash light. The sea heaves slow, its back scarred with wrack. Dead wood, black casks, a tangle of rope like a noose drifting wide. You float among it, your skin blue as steel, your eyes sunk deep, your breath a rasp, thin as thread. Hunger's claws rip your belly. Thirst scalds your throat till your tongue feels carved from salt. You drift. The sun creeps, a pale coin hammered flat on iron sky. Its heat bites sharp now, baking the brine in your skin to crust, peeling it raw. Your lips split, bleed black on your teeth. The swell rocks you, a cradle of knives, till thought phrase unravels. You dream walking again. Streets white with dust, a door yawning black, voices humming behind it like bees. When you wake, the door's still there. Not a dream now, real, rising from the haze, black and jagged, its lintel carved from rock, its jaws choked with green. Behind it, a hump of land swells from the sea, its flanks clawed with vines, its crown veiled in mist thick as wool. The island, not the first, another, or the same, slid closer through the dark on roots coiling deep. You cannot tell. You do not care. Land is all. You paddle with arms that jerk like sticks, with legs numb as rope. The spar bucks, but you cling, inch by inch, till the surf snarls white, and the black teeth loom. They gnash, spit spray in your face sharp as glass, but you grind on, mouth full of brine, eyes full of blood. A break shows sudden as grace, a slit where the foam slides slick between walls of stone. You drive for it, breath sawing, bones screaming, and the sea sucks you in, drags you blind through a throat of black water and white roar. Then stillness. A pool, green as poison glass, cradled in cliffs veined with slime. A beach crouches beyond, sand gray as ash, strewn with shells white as teeth. Jungle rears behind, black and knotted, its roof dripping shadow. The air hangs heavy, rank with the stink of things that crawl. You sprawl on the sand, chest heaving, skull ringing. The surf hisses behind, whispering soft as a snake in the grass. Ahead, the green hums low, thick with flies fat as grapes. Something stirs there, just a ripple in the gloom, a shiver of leaves where no wind walks. You close your eyes, just for a breath, and in the dark behind them, the voice curls up from the deep, smooth, slow, certain as tide. Down, you will come down. The whisper clings to your bones long after the roar of the storm has bled from the sky. You lie sprawled on the ash-gray sand, your chest sawing like a bellows, your skin raw with salt and sun. Each breath tastes of iron and rot. The air hangs heavy, thick with a sweetness gone sour, like fruit left to blacken in the heat. Flies hum in veils, fat and glossy, their drone burrowing in your skull until you want to rip it out with your nails. When you lift your head, the world swims. The beach curves like a sickle between two black walls of rock, their faces slick with moss, weeping long threads of water that glint in the gray. Beyond them, the jungle looms, green knotted with black, a heave of leaves that drip and twitch though the air is still as stone. A hush hums in it, thick and low, like breath drawn deep and held. You crawl at first, hands sinking in sand cold as ashes, fingers clawing at shells sharp as teeth. Every limb jerks heavy as chain. Your shirt clings in rags, stiff with brine. Your boots squelch black water. Hunger gnaws, hollow in your gut. A rat with iron teeth. Thirst burns hotter than fire, grating your throat to dust. The sea behind mutters soft, sly, as if laughing through its white foam lips. You reach the green. It gapes close as a mouth. Ferns bristling like tongues. Vines looping like ropes over trunks black with slime. The smell hits, sweet and foul, thick as meat rotting in a pit. Your gorge rises, but you swallow it down and push in, because the only thing behind is death. The jungle swallows you whole. Shadows coil, heavy and hot, veiling the sky in a roof of leaves that sweat and drip. The air clings, wet and warm, pressing like flesh on your face. Every step sucks in muck, black and slick as blood. Roots writhe underfoot like the ribs of something vast and buried. You move slow, hunched, hacking through creepers with a blade dull as bone. Each swing tears fire down your arms. Each breath rasps like sand in your lungs. Flies follow thick, their bodies jeweled green, their wings whining in your ears. They crawl in your hair, your beard, your wounds. You swat, curse, choke on their taste. Then you hear it, a trickle, thin, secret, threading through the hush. You freeze, head cocked, ears straining. There, beyond the clutch of black trunks, where the gloom swells thick as pitch, you push through fern and thorn, blood beating where they rake your skin raw. The trickle fattens, swells to a chuckle, then a rush, and there it is, a stream coiling green through a gash of rock, its skin freckled white with petals, its song sweet as a hymn. You drop to your knees, hands plunging, lips gaping. The water bites cold, sharp as glass, and you drink till your belly sags like a cask. It floods your blood, your bones, till the world swims bright as brass, and your breath rips free in a sob that tastes of life. But the taste sours quick, because the hush deepens, thickens. Not silence now, but listening. You feel it prickle your nape, crawl your spine. Eyes, 100, 1,000, peering from the green. You lift your head, slow as rot, and see nothing. Nothing but trunks slick with moss, their bark blotched black and gray. Nothing but vines looping like veins, dripping threads of black water. Nothing but shadows, deep, still, patient as graves. Then the whisper slides through the hush, soft, low, curling like smoke in the meat of your skull. Down. Your gut knots, hard enough to tear. You wrench up, spinning, the blade jerking wild in your fist. Nothing moves. No beast. No wind. Only the green breathing slow, sweet as a rotting mouth. You back from it, step by step, till your heel strikes stone. A wall rears sudden from the dark, a slab black as wet iron, veined with streaks pale as bone. It hums under your palm, low and deep, like the purr of some vast beast slumbering in the roots of the world. You tear your hand back, heart pounding, eyes dragging up its face. Carvings writhe there, lines hacked deep, worn smooth by years beyond counting. Spirals looping like coils, jaws yawning wide, teeth grinning in rings that gnash the stone. And, in the hollow where all lines meet, a hole gapes black. A mouth. A door. A wound. From it seeps a breath damp and warm, thick with the reek of salt and old blood. The whisper swells, smooth as oil, slicking your skull till your thoughts slide. In. Down. Rest. You stagger back, boots grinding in grit, but the hush grips your limbs like tar. You cannot run. You cannot breathe. You only stare at that black wound, yawning wider now. Or seeming to, its lip twitching like lips wetting for a kiss. Shadows writhe beyond it, slick and slow, glinting pale as bellies in the dark. Your knees fold. The blade slips. The stone swallows your breath in a hush soft as moss. And in the black behind your eyes, shapes coil, smooth and endless, whispering in voices deep as the trench. No hunger, no thirst, only down. Then something brushes your foot, light as weed, cold as death, and the dark mouth moves. The touch is soft, softer than silk, lighter than breath, yet it locks your bones as if iron has melted through your blood. You stare down, slow, knowing before your eyes confirm. Something pale sliding over your boot, glistening wet, ridged in coils that ripple with a life old as tide. It lingers, just a caress, tender as a mother's hand, and then draws back, melting into the black that yawns where the stone mouth gapes. The whisper comes with it, pulsing deep, hollow, thick as oil. In, down, be still. Your breath shreds. The jungle falls away. The storm, the spit, the screams. They all drown in that voice. It is not sound but weight, pressing through your skull, stroking the meat of your mind until thought drips like fat in a fire. You clutch the stone, nails tearing, but it hums beneath your palms. Warm now, wet, slick as the flesh of something breathing. A shape bulges in the dark, slow, silent. Its edges ooze like pitch, writhing with a rhythm older than moon or tide. Light gutters in your eyes, what little the gray sky gives, and still you see it. A jaw blooming vast and red, teeth fine as harrows, curved for rending not flesh, but hope. Behind it, eyes flare. 2, then 4, then more, winking like drowned lanterns in a pit. Your knees melt to mud. The blade slides from your fist, rings soft on stone. Hands grope for it in the dark and clutch nothing but slime. Your breath comes thin, a thread stretched to breaking, and the stink rolls out. A musk heavy with brine and the sweet rot of graves long shut. It fills your lungs, clogs your blood, crawls down your throat like molten lead. Something moves behind you. Not leaf, not wind. A step, slow, measured. Another, and another. You wrench your head, neck screaming, and see them come through the green. Men. Or what was men? They walk stiff, their limbs jerking like marionettes on wrought black strings. Faces pale as wax, lips split in rictus grins, teeth bared slick with black, eyes filmed white, blind yet burning with a light that is not life. Their clothes hang in tatters soaked dark, their boots sucking mud with each step, slow as rot. And in their mouths, the whisper hums. Not words, not voice, just a drone deep as the trench, quivering in their throats like the purr of worms. The bosun leads. What's left of him? His jaw hangs loose, his tongue, a black rope lolling in a grin that splits to his ear. His hands clutch nothing. He needs nothing now but what pulls his strings from the pit. They close around you in a ring, their breath a stink of salt and grave water, their heads tilting slow as gulls in dead calm. You lurch back, spine to the stone, its carvings grinding your flesh. The mouth gapes wider now. You swear it. Black lips twitch, stretch, peel back on jaws ridged like coral, teeth glimmering wet. The air quakes with a throb low as the Earth's own pulse. The dead men stop. Heads can't. The bosun's jaw quivers. Then, in a voice not his, not theirs, not any tongue that ever scraped a human throat, they speak as one. Down. The word slams through you, a hammer of soundless weight. Your ears bleed salt. Your teeth ring in your skull. Your bowels melt to ice. The stone shudders, slick under your palms now, slick and warm as a beast's flank. The hole breathes. You feel it, damp and deep, a tide sucking soft as silk at the soles of your boots. The sand shifts. The earth tilts. You run. God's truth. You run blind, screaming, hacking through green that lashes like whips, through vines that clutch like fingers, through roots that rise to trip and drag you down. Behind, the whisper bellows. Not loud, but vast. A flood that drowns the blood's own drum. The dead shapes move. Not fast, yet never faltering. Their steps slow as doom. Their faces blind and grinning in the black hush. Branches flay your flesh. Flies, clot, thick in your mouth. And still you run. The light flickers ahead. A smear of gray in the green. The stink of salt, sharp as a knife. You burst through fern, tumble down a spit of ash sand, and the sea rears sudden, black and still as glass. You hurl for it, boots gouging furrows, ribs splitting with breath, the taste of blood thick as tar on your teeth. The surf foams white at your knees, cold as grave water, sweet as mercy. You fling yourself headlong, arms raking black brine, and the sea swallows you in a hush that booms like bells. The cold bites deep, chewing muscle, gnawing bone. You kick, thrash, heave till your heart bursts fire in your chest, till light pricks white above, winking like a coin tossed in a grave. You claw for it, nails tearing, breath shredding to threads, till hand seize you. Not coils, not beasts. Hands, warm, rough, clamping your arms like iron. You break the skin of the sea in a sob that rips your throat raw, and see a face looming close, burned black with sun, beard streaming brine, eyes hard as hammered steel. A voice grates, harsh as rope through a block. Christ's bones! Haul him, lads! More hands grip, drag, heave you over a rail. You sprawl on planks hot as fire, coughing blood and brine, your body jerking like a gut-hooked fish. Boots thud, shadows loom. A mast sways above, patched canvas snapping in wind that reeks of tar and sweat. A ship, real. The whisper fades, thin now, stretched, fraying like old rope in storm, but not gone, never gone. It hums low in the sump of your skull, slick and sure as tide. Not yet, not yet. Down. You lie there, gasping, the sky a white blaze over your skull, the sea hissing soft at the hull like a snake at a cradle. And through the roar of blood in your ears, the bosun's grin blooms in the dark behind your eyes, wide as the mouth in the stone, whispering one word like a kiss. Soon. The deck sways under you like the belly of some great beast. Voices snarl and boom above, boots thudding, ropes shrieking through blocks. You lie flat on planks black with tar and sun, your body twitching with the last kicks of fever and fear. Breath saws through your throat raw as split canvas, each gulp tasting of salt and smoke. The sky glares white, its rim bruised with storm shadows, and beyond the rail, the sea heaves green and black, its back slick as oil, its troughs whispering secrets you dare not hear. A shape looms. A face, burned brown, beard bristling with salt, teeth flashing in a grin cracked wide by old scars. His eyes bore into you, hard and gray as gunmetal, their whites webbed with red. He crouches, knees popping, and grips your jaw in a fist thick as corded rope. The stink of tobacco and tar clings to him like a second skin. Well, he rasps, voice grated raw by years of wind and rum. What? Tide? Spewed you? Up? Ay. You try to speak. Only a croak crawls from your throat, thick as slime. He barks a laugh sharp as an axe bite, then jerks his chin. Two shadows seize your arms, heave you up like a sack of meal. Your boots drag, your head lolls. The world tilts and shudders till they drop you hard on a coil of rope. Pain rips your ribs raw, but you suck it down, blinking at the blur around you. The ship looms black as a gibbet against the haze. Her flanks gape with gun ports, their lids grinning like rotten teeth. Her rigging snarls against a sky white as bleached bone. The stink hits then. Tar and hemp. Sweat rank as grave water. And under it all the sour sweet breath of old blood ground into her seams. A name scorched into the plank under your hand reads, Mercy's Wraith. The letters bite deep, their grooves crusted black. The man who spoke, her master no doubt, swings up from his crouch, coat flaring like a raven's wing. It hangs rich once, now stiff with salt and patched with canvas the color of storm rot. Brass glints dull on his belt, where pistols ride snug in leather slick with grease. He lifts his voice, and it cracks like a whip through the roar of wind. Which of ye saw him rise? A grunt from the larboard gang. Off the reef, Captain. Floated like a gull's gut. The captain's eyes knife back to you. Reef, eh? And where's the rest of your flock? You rasp it, low as a prayer. Dead. Silence falls, thick as pitch. Even the wind seems to hold its breath. Then the captain spits, a black rope hissing on the deck, and laughs. A laugh with no mirth, sharp as splinters in a wound. Dead, he says, and the word rolls slow, savoring it. Aye, sooner or later the sea chews all bones to gristle. The crew stirs. 20, 30 shapes knotted with corded muscle. Skin burned to leather, eyes pale and cold as drift ice. Their jaws work on nothing, their hands twitch near steel. Men who'd gut you for a twist of tobacco, who'd laugh while the blood smoked black on the planks. You taste it in the air, not rescue, not yet. Something meaner, older, as hungry as the hush in the roots of the world. The captain jerks his head. Feed him. They haul you below, down a ladder slick with bilge slime, into a gloom rank with wet wood and rat stink. Hammocks sag in the murk, their ropes creaking soft as breath. Shadows writhe where lantern light drips, painting the timbers in streaks of piss yellow and black. They shove you on a chest scarred with burns and notches deep as old wounds. A hand shoves a tin cup under your nose, water, warm and flat, tasting of iron and old rope. You drink, because thirst burns hotter than fear, and cough till your ribs scream. They throw a crust after, black with weevils. You chew slow, gagging, but you keep it down, because you know what waits if you spit it back. Nothing. Not till your gut gnaws your bones to marrow. The ship groans, her timbers whining under the shove of swell. Water gurgles in her belly, slaps soft as wet lips against her ribs. And under it all, a sound threads faint, a hum, low and thick, quivering in the planks like breath in old lungs. You freeze, crust clamped between your teeth, heart lurching. The sound thickens, swells, a pulse, deep as the trench, stroking the black sump of your skull. Down. Your hand clamps the bench till your nails tear splinters. The lantern quivers, its flame bowing, guttering, as if the dark draws breath through its glass. The hum seeps through your bones, now, warm, slick, sweet as rot. Behind your eyes, a mouth yawns black, stone lips veined with slime, teeth grinning wet as coral. And from it coils the musk of graves drowned deep, thick with whispers, soft as silk. Soon, soon. A shape slinks in the glow, a rat fat as a fist, its eyes dull pearls. It freezes, nose twitching, then hunches low, squeaking thin. Another follows. Then 3, 4, a tide of them spilling silent from the cracks, their fur slick with slime, their bellies bloated. They swarm the crust from your hand, teeth clicking, their squeals shivering like wire through your skull. One stops, lifts its head slow, stares. Its mouth gapes, yawning wider than any rat's should, splitting to the ear, its teeth black needles dripping threads that hiss on the plank. From that grin, the whisper rolls, soft and sweet. Down, the lantern dies, and the dark comes boiling in. Dark folds over you like wet canvas, heavy and close, stinking of bilge and rust. The whisper seeps through it, slick as oil, curling round your ribs like ropes. You press back against the bulkhead, splinters biting your spine, breath rasping through teeth clenched so hard your jaw grinds grit. The rats scuttle, claws ticking soft as rain on bone, their shapes quicksilver in the dark. But the sound they make now, God help you, it isn't squeaks. It's words. Soft, wet, whispering through jaws that shouldn't shape them. Down, down. No hunger, no thirst. You flail for the lantern, for anything with heat and light, but your hands find nothing. Only slime-slick planks, a coil of rope swollen black with rot. The whisper laughs, low and sweet, humming in the black like bees in meat. And then the sound thickens, the creak of timbers, the throb of water slapping the hull, but slower now, heavier, like a breath drawn deep and long beneath your boots. The ship shudders, not from swell, not from wind, from something vast stirring in the dark under her keel, rolling slow as doom. You feel it pulse through the planks, up your bones, a heartbeat deep as the trench, grinding like stones in a tide. The hull groans, nails screaming in their beds, chains rattling like bones on the move. The rats still, all but one. It crouches by your boot, its fur slick with a shine no lantern cast. Its eyes blink, once, twice, then flare gold, molten and slow, like fire seen through water. Its jaw yawns wide, wider, splitting till its skull gapes like a trap. Black threads glisten in the dark where its tongue should be, writhing soft as worms. And from that red slit pours a voice not made for air. Down. You kick. The thing bursts. Not blood, not flesh, but slime slick as tar, stinking of salt and old graves. It splatters your boot, hisses where it hits the plank, eating black pits in the grain. You jerk back, gagging, and slam into the chest. It shifts. Heavy. Wrong. And the lid cracks. Light spills out. Not gold. Not fire. Green. Sick as weed rotting under ice. Pulsing soft like breath. It crawls over your hands, your arms, painting your skin with veins that glow and writhe. You stare into it, because you cannot not, and the sight drags the air from your lungs like a hook. Not coins, not gems. Eyes. Dozens. Scores. Heaped like stones in that box. Pale. Filmed. Staring blind. Yet they see. They turn as one. Slow and smooth. Their milky globes sliding in sockets of black rot. And under them, something stirs. A coil slick and pale. Thicker than a mast. Veined with light that pulses green and foul. It shifts. Rolls. Heaves against the wood. And the chest bulges like a belly ready to split. You throw yourself back as the lid yawns wide. The dark coughs up a stench that scalds your throat raw. Salt and musk. Fat and rot. The breath of trenches where the world's bones lie. The whisper roars now, filling the belly of the ship, booming through your skull till your teeth scream. Down, down. The deep waits. The hull lurches. A lantern flares somewhere aft, splashing the gloom in piss-yellow streaks. Shadows leap and wheel, men tumbling from hammocks, cursing, clawing for steel. But the deck heaves again, pitching them in heaps as chains scream and guns slam their breeches. The sea thunders, closer now, pounding like war drums on the planks. You claw up the ladder, boots slipping in slime, lungs ripping for air that tastes of pitch and fear. The hatch bursts under your shoulder and light knifes your eyes, gray, hard, slashed with rain. The sky's a lid of iron hammered black with cloud, its edge spitting knives of white fire. Wind screams through the rigging, ripping ropes to whips. The crew writhes like maggots on the heaving deck. 30 men clawing for their lives, their eyes wide and white in faces black with salt. The captain bellows from the quarterdeck, his voice a cannon shot tearing the gale. Heave! Pump, ye dogs! Pump, or the deep'll suck your guts clean! But the pumps choke black. You see it gush from their throats. Tar, thick as pitch, roping down the scuppers in threads that steam and hiss. The timbers groan, the deck buckles, seams yawning to spit jets of brine that writhe like snakes. And through it all, that hum swells, low, vast, patient as the tide, quivering in the marrow of your bones. You stagger to the rail, clutch it till your nails peel, and stare into the boil below. Black water bucks and seethes, clawing high, spitting froth white as bone. And in the trough between the swells, the dark moves, slow, smooth, glimmering pale under the skin of the sea. A coil slides up, big as a yard, writhing once before the wave smashes it under. Another, another, rings widening, folding, knotting deep. The men see now. Their cries splinter sky and storm, raw, ragged, ripped from throats gnawed by fear. Pistols crack, sparks spitting in the gale. Muskets boom, their muzzles coughing fire into rain. Balls hiss, vanish, strike nothing but black swell. And then the sea heaves. God's truth. It heaves like a world-heaving breath. And the hull leaps under your boots, pitching guns from their beds, flinging men shrieking into the dark. The water splits. Something rises. Not beast, not worm. No word your tongue can shape. A wall of flesh slick with slime, veined with green fire that pulses like the heart of hell. It rolls up slow, smooth, blotting half the storm, and from its crown blooms a head, jaw yawning red, teeth curving white as harrows, eyes flaring gold, cold, old as salt. The whisper bellows now, not in words, not in sound, but in weight. A tide that drowns your marrow, a voice older than breath, booming from the pit of the world. Down. The wave smashes, the deck screams, and the night swallows light and life in one black gulp. The world turns over. Planks scream and rip like sinew torn from bone. Iron groans in sockets, chains whip free and shriek sharp as flayed nerve. Men wheel skyward like gulls, gut-shot in stormlight. Mouths split wide, eyes white, limbs flailing against a dark that eats them whole. You claw at the rail, nails tearing to ribbons, breath ripping from your chest in a sob raw enough to strip your throat. Then the sea takes you, cold, black, thick as oil. It hammers your ribs like shot, crams brine into your mouth, your lungs, till you cough it in shrieks that no one hears. The dark churns white for a breath, then slams shut above your skull. You tumble blind, spinning, ears roaring with the boom of the deep. Something wrenches past your leg, slick, hard, strong as forged iron, and the thought knives cold through your skull. Coil. You kick. You thrash. But the sea has you now, and it loves you with a grip slow, soft, sweet as death. It rolls you down, down, lungs screaming, heart pounding to a drum you know isn't yours. Not now. Not anymore. Light fades, gray to green, green to black, till the dark flower's full, veined with fire pale as worms in meat. It writhes around you, slick and slow, glimmering faint where coils knot and slide. They stir the black like roots twitching in the bowels of the world. Each ripple brushing your flesh. Each brush thick with thought. Not yours. It's down. The word booms. Not in ears, but in bone. Your skull hums with it. Your blood thickens. Sluggish. Syrup slow. Lungs gape. Burst. Gulp. Brine sweet. As honey now. Slicking your tongue. Flooding your throat. Pain dies soft as a candle guttering low. Thought phrased to threads. You hang. Arms drifting. Legs slack. Your eyes gaping blind into a black alive with light. Shapes bloom there. Faces. White. Smooth. Hair streaming like weed. Lips slack. Teeth bared in grins sweet as rot. Men you knew. Men you saw fed to surf and scream. They hang there, drifting slow. Their eyes pearl white. Blind yet bright with a glow that hums through your blood. The bosun slides close. Jaw split wide. Tongue a black rope writhing soft. His grin gapes, spilling no sound but a pulse, low as a tide sucking stones. Rest. You reach for him. God help you. You do. Because the dark croons sweet now, warm as a mother's breast, thick with whispers soft as rum in your blood. No hunger, no thirst, no pain, no fear. Just the hush, the deep, the coil's kiss wrapping slow around your ribs. Something brushes your spine. Smooth, cold, firm as oak, slick as pitch. It slides, loops, cinches gentle as love. You do not fight. You could not if you would. Your arms drift wide. Your mouth yawns slack. The green fire pulses stronger now, beating slow, sure, deep as doom. And through it rolls the voice, soft no more but vast, booming through marrow, shaking your soul till it cracks like a shell. Be still. The coil tightens. Just a breath. Just enough to hush the last wild flutter in your blood. Your eyes close slow, lids heavy as lead. The dark strokes you sweet, soft, endless. Then, light. A stab, sharp as steel, white as frost on a blade, knifing through the black. It flares sudden, wild, blinding, searing the slime from your sight. You jerk, gasp. Not water now, but air, raw and hot, tearing your lungs like shot. Pain slams back. A hammer to skull and ribs, a shriek ripping your throat. You thrash, kick, claw, and break the skin of the sea in a howl that splits the sky. Hands seize you, rough, hard, human. Haul you over a rail slick with blood and rain. You sprawl on planks burned black, hacking brine and bile. Your chest a furnace ripping sparks. The sky reels gray, veined with white fire. Its edge split with cloud boiling black as tar. Voices bellow, boots drum. Shadows lurch through the smoke and spray. Not the Wraith, another ship, black as doom. Her spars writhing in the gale. Her decks alive with men gaunt as wolves. Eyes gleaming like steel in lantern glare. They swarm, cursing, hauling lines that scream like souls through the wind. A bell tolls aft, deep and slow, tolling like a knell through the roar. You lie gasping, eyes slid against the spit of rain, and see the captain loom. Not yours, not the raven-cloaked shade that fed you to the pit. Another, tall, gaunt, his coat a shroud of gray, his hair a mane, whipped white by gale and years. His face is carved from bone and storm, his eyes two nails of ice. They pierce you, pin you, as his mouth splits in a grin thin as a blade. Well, he says, voice a rasp deep as the keels groan, what wreck spewed this fish, eh? You try to speak. Only a wheeze crawls out, thick with blood. His grin widens, and his hand falls, heavy, warm, real, on your shoulder raw with salt. You'll tell it, he says, and his voice hums low, a thread under the storm. If you live the night. The bell tolls again, long and hollow, rolling through the dark like the call of something vast below. And under its knell, soft as silk, sweet as death, the whisper coils up once more, stroking your skull like a kiss. Down. You sob. Whether from rage or terror or the deep pull sweet as rum, you do not know. The sea hisses against the hull, and through its hiss you hear it breathe. Soon. The bell tolls again, deep, slow, shuddering through the marrow of the ship like a heart too big for its cage. The sound rolls down the masts, through the ropes slick with rain, and sinks into the planks beneath you until the timber seems to hum against your ribs. You clutch it, nails scraping black splinters, and feel the vibration linger, thick and low, like something answering from below. Men swarm the deck, shadows heaving through the stormlight, hauling lines that hiss like live snakes in the rain. The new ship, your savior, your jailer, bucks and groans under the crush of the swell, her seams spitting white froth, her spars bending till they scream in their iron collars. The wind knifes down from a sky black as a foundry roof, veined with lightning that sears the clouds white and blue. Hands grab you again, rough, iron hard, and drag you aft through the pitch and blood slicking the planks. You stumble, sagging against a bulkhead that reeks of tar and brine, and blink through the sting of rain and smoke. The man who hauls you is a brute, a mast in flesh, his beard knotted with salt, his arms roped in scars that gleam wet in the glare of fire slashed across the sky. He grunts, shoves you down by the mizzen, and snarls over his shoulder in a voice that claws the gale. Cap'n wants his tail. You'd best find your tongue, wretch, for the deep does. Then he's gone, a shadow swallowed in shadows, leaving you hunched and shivering against the spar, your breath rasping like saws in your chest. The captain waits on the quarterdeck, one hand locked on the rail, the other resting light on a pistol worn gray with years. His coat lashes in the wind, heavy as a shroud, its skirts thrumming like black wings. Lightning flares, laying his face bare for a heartbeat. A map of scars, lips paired to a line, eyes like cold nails hammered deep. He stares down at you, and for a breath you swear the storm hangs still, the sea holding its breath between the roll of thunder. Well? His voice grates low, like chain dragged slow through water black with weed. Speak it. You open your mouth, and what comes isn't words, but a cough that rips your throat raw, spraying salt and blood across your knees. The taste bites sharp, iron and brine, slick as the slime you felt coiling round your flesh in the dark. Memory surges, black and green, veined with fire pale as bone. The trench yawning, the mouth carved in stone, the whisper soft as silk in your skull. The captain's boot slams the plank. Your name! You choke it out, a croak stripped of manhood, and his head tilts, slow, like a gull's eyeing meat. Then, softer, softer than any storm-born voice should sound, he asks, "What did you see?" The words crawl cold as eels down your spine. You swallow, throat raw, and the truth oozes up, slick as bile. Down there, something waits. A hush falls, not on the storm. That still screams, ripping ropes to whips, tearing white fire through the cloud. But on the men. Their boots freeze on the planks. Their voices choke mid-curse. Even the bell stills, its last knell hanging long and low in the roar. Dozens of eyes turn, white in the dark, gleaming like fish bellies in the flare of lightning. The captain does not blink. His gaze pins you to the spar like a knife through a gull. Name it. You shake your head, slow, because no tongue of man could shape the thing you saw. The trench opening like a jaw, teeth of stone, coils gliding slick and black, eyes winking cold and old as salt. You grope for words and find only one, the one that hums still in the meat of your skull, slick and sweet as rot. Down. The crew stirs, boots scuff, curses spit through clenched teeth, hands twitch near steel. One man mutters a prayer that curdles on his lips when lightning splits the night and paints the sky white as bone. The captain lifts a hand, and the hush clamps tight again, thick as pitch. Below, he says, voice flat, dead of fear. Lock him. They drag you aft, down a hatch gaping black, down ladders slick with slime and bilge. The dark swallows you whole, rank with piss and wet rope, thick with the stench of meat gone sweet. A cell yawns. A hole boxed in timbers black with tar, its bolts eaten green with rust. They fling you in, slam the door. The iron shrieks like something in pain, then booms shut. You lie sprawled on planks that sweat cold through your rags, your breath fogging in the hush. Above, boots drum, chains clatter, voices roar in the gale. Below, God's truth. Below, you feel it. The hum, deep, slow, patient as the tide. It seeps through the keel, through the bolts, through the marrow of your bones, pulsing soft as a lullaby in the black. No hunger, no thirst, no pain. Down. You clamp your hands on your ears till the nails tear flesh, but the voice slides through skin, through blood, thick as oil. Behind your eyes, green light throbs, pale, slick, writhing like worms in meat. Shapes loom there, faces blind and grinning, jaws yawning wide to pour the hush, sweet as rum. Down, down, down. The ship heels sudden, pitching you into the bulkhead with a crack that splinters your ribs. Water slaps the hull, slow now, heavy as a hand. Then something thuds, a boom, deep and soft, like flesh striking flesh. Again, again. The timbers quiver. Dust drips from the beams. The iron bolts twitch in their beds. You crawl to the scupper, nose to the grate, and look. Black water slops there, veined with fire green and foul, pulsing like veins in meat. And under it, God help you, something moves. Slow, smooth. A coil big as a yard sliding soft along the hull, stroking the planks like a lover's hand. Another follows. Another. Rings folding, nodding, rolling with a grace that chills the spit in your throat. The whisper swells now, thick and sweet. A purr stroking your skull till thought slides like fat in heat. No sky, no storm, no pain. Only hush, only deep. Come down. And then the keel groans, loud as a soul tearing loose. The keel shudders like a living spine. Bolts shriek in their beds, chains rattle high in the dark, and the timbers answer with a moan long and low, a sound that crawls through your teeth and sets them chattering in your skull. The ship lists, heels, drags like a beast held in a hand too vast to fight. You clutch the deck, your nails tearing splinters slick with bilge slime, but the boards buck and twist as if breathing under you. Then, silence. Not true silence. Never that. The storm still howls far above, muffled by planks thick as coffins. Rain hammers the hatches. Guns groan in their trucks. Ropes slap the bulkheads like dead men's tongues. But under it all, in the sump of the hull, in the marrow of your bones, the hush hums. Thick, slow, sweet as rum gone black in the cask. It strokes your blood, coils round your thoughts, slides soft as silk through the cracks of fear. You feel it in your teeth, your nails, the roots of your hair prickling wet in the dark. And then it speaks, not with sound, with weight. Words pressed through bone like worms through rot. Be still. Your breath jerks. Your ribs creak like old planks under the shove of tide. You want to fight. Christ's truth you do. But the will drips out of you like bilge through a split seam. Your hands unclamp from the grate. Your limbs slacken slow. You sag, cheek to the sweating plank, and let the hush lap sweet as oil round your skull. A drip breaks it. Just a drip. Soft as a tear. Then another. And another. You lift your head slow, your eyes wide and blind in the gloom. The sound comes from the scupper. No, from the crack beyond, where the bilge swells black as a drowned lung. You crawl, joints creaking, and peer. The water shines now. Not dull black, not brine gray. Green. Veined with fire pale as wrought, pulsing slow, thick, a glow that breathes like a hardened meat. It paints the planks with streaks slick as slime, crawls up the bolts in threads bright as worms, and under it, shapes stir, shadows knotted and coiling, sliding soft with a grace too vast for flesh. Something bulges the planks. Just a breath, just enough to bow them like ribs under a shove. The glow throbs brighter. The whisper swells, low as the trench, rich as fat and heat. No hunger, no thirst, no pain, only down. Your skull floods with it. Thought drowns. You see green now, only green. Slick and slow, crawling like moss through the meat of your mind. Faces bloom there. White, smooth, lips yawning wide in grins sweet as graves. The bosun drifts among them, his jaw hanging loose, his eyes two milky pearls lit with a fire that hums soft and low. Rest. You reach. God help you. You reach. Hands groping blind in air thick as syrup, slick with heat. The grate bites your fingers. The glow licks them green. And then the plank splits. Just a crack. Just a whisper of wood parting like lips. From it slides a thread pale as milk, wet as birth, veined with light that beats in time with the pulse in your skull. It strokes your wrist, soft, tender, sweet as love. Then another joins it, and another, coiling, knotting, stroking the meat of your arm till your nails tear splinters in the iron. The whisper roars now, not words, but hush, thick as the deep, pressing through your veins, slopping through your skull, booming from the pit under all things. Be still. The planks burst. Water coughs in, black and green, writhing with threads pale as worms, slick with slime that reeks of musk and old graves. It climbs your legs, your hips, thick as oil, warm as blood. You thrash, Christ's bones, you thrash. But the coils hold, soft as silk, strong as death. They slide, loop, cinch, knot, till your ribs groan and your breath bursts in sobs raw enough to flay your throat. The dark splits sudden with light. White this time, white and wild, knifing through the hatch as it bangs wide. A roar follows, boots drumming, steel screaming from scabbards, voices ripped raw by fear and storm. A shape looms, a man, huge as a spar, his face a mask of spray and smoke, his arms knotted with rope-thick muscle. An axe blazes in his fist, its edge flashing fire in the flare of the lantern swinging wild above. He bellows, a sound that shakes the ribs of the ship, that rips the hush for a breath. Then the blade falls. Wood screams, iron shrieks. The coils lash, fast as snakes, blind with rage, whipping spray black with blood and brine. Men howl, muskets crack, sparks spitting through the murk. The hatch slams, splitting the dark with a sheet of rain and fire. Something tears. You feel it in your bones. A snap deep as the trench. A cry long and low, rolling through the hull till the planks buck like a deck in a gale. The glow gutters. The whisper frays to threads. You sprawl on the planks, heaving, hacking water black and thick as tar, your limbs jerking like a gut-hooked fish. Men swarm, hands seizing, chains clanking, voices blaring curses thick with rum and fear. They drag you out, up the ladder, through the storm that claws the deck with nails of white fire. The sea writhes black beyond, its skin ripped white by wind. The ship bucks, groans, heels like a drunk in a brawl. The captain grips the rail, his coat thrashing like wings, his face lit bone white in the glare. His eyes burn when they rake you, cold, hard, rimmed with the red of years gone bad. Below, he rasps, voice raw as rope through a block. What stirs there? You choke it out, low, thick with blood and brine, the word sliding slick as slime from your tongue. Not beast. He tilts his head, slow, the wind gnawing his hair to ropes. Then what? Your throat splits on it, the truth crawling raw from the pit of your skull. A god. And under the howl of storm, the whisper curls soft as a kiss through the gale, sweet and sure as tide. Down. The captain does not flinch. Not when the word slides off your tongue slick as blood. Not when the storm lashes his coat to ribbons. Not even when lightning claws the sky to bone and sears his face in a white glare that carves every scar, every line, deep as cuts in oak. His eyes stay nailed to yours, cold, gray, hard as iron pins, and behind them something stirs. Not fear, not faith, something meaner, older, heavy as chains on a drowned man's ribs. A god, he says, flat, not question, not curse, just a weight dropped from a gallows high. Then, softer, low enough that the wind near swallows it. You've seen it. You can't speak. Your throat is a rag of fire. Your ribs scream like split timbers. And still the word hums in you, fat and slow as worms in meat. Down. It throbs through the roar, through the bell's dull knell, through the drum of boots as men heave at ropes slick with storm and fear. You clutch the scupper, gagging brine and blood, and spit a shred of it past teeth gritted to grit. Yes. The ship heels sharp, pitching you against the spar. The deck bucks under a sea that slams black fists over the rail, clawing to rip her guts clean. Men curse, voices ragged, teeth flashing white in the storm's green glare. Muskets clatter to the planks, their priming drowned, their sparks snuffed to smoke. And still the captain stands, boots planted, coat thrashing, face carved from stormlight and iron. He leans down slow, his breath hot as pitch in your ear, and what he says crawls through you like a maggot through a wound. You're going back. Your heart stops dead, then lurches wild as the deck underfoot. You jerk, clutch his sleeve with nails split to meet, croak through the shred of your throat. You don't know what. I know enough. His voice grates low, rough as cable through a chalk. I know the sea don't take whole crews for naught. I know the trench yawns fat with secrets men would gut their kin to taste. And I know one truth, deep as doom. Gold don't grow on trees. Gold. The word strikes like a shot, ringing through your skull bright as brass in muck. For a breath, you see it. Coils of it heaped in stone halls drowned black. Chests fat with coin-crusted green. Gems winking cold in the deep's blind eye. You smell it, thick as blood on iron, sweet as rot in heat. And under it, humming low, slick and sure as tide, the voice purrs. Yes, all yours, only down. You wrench free, spitting the lie raw through your teeth. No gold, no light, only hunger. The captain's grin splits, thin as a cut in leather, bright as a blade in the lightning's lash. I, he rasps, and hunger's what drives men where gold sleeps sweet. He straightens, snaps his gaze aloft, and his voice rips the gale like a broadside. Hands aft, brace her, cut no line lest ye fancy dancing with the worms tonight. The crew moves, God help them, they move, hauling, hacking, their backs bowed to ropes that shriek like souls through blocks. Rain lashes, wind howls, sails thrash in rags black as devil's wings. The masts groan, bending till they scream in their iron jaws, and the hullbucks, under a sea boiling white with wrath. You crawl to the hatch, nails clawing the plank slick as eelskin, but hands seize you. 2, 4, rough as reef, clamping wrists raw, heels grinding your spine. You kick, thrash, howl through a throat split to wire, but they haul you like a gut-shot hog down the ladder yawning black as a grave. The dark swallows you whole, stinks of tar and bilge, of meat gone sweet, of wet wood sweating death. Lantern sway, coughing like thin as breath, painting the beams in stripes of piss yellow and pitch. Shadows writhe where men crouch in knots, their eyes glimmering white, their mouths gnawing prayers that curdle as they spill. They fling you on the planks, chain your wrists to a ring sunk deep in timber black with brine and blood. The iron bites, grinding bone. You spit foam, hiss curses thick with salt, but they're gone before the last leaves your teeth. Boots drumming up the ladder, hatch slamming with a clang that jars your skull. Silence drops. Not true silence. Never that. The hull hums. Soft at first, sweet as a lull crooned through water thick as oil. Then deeper, thicker, pressing through the beams, the bolts, the marrow of your bones. It slides round your skull, strokes the meat of your mind with fingers cold and slick. Be still. Be warm. Be mine. The lantern flares. Just a breath. Then gutters. Smoke snakes. The glow drowns. And the green rises. Veins of it crawling up the seams, pulsing slow. Fat as worms in fat. Threads wriggle where the bilge seeps black between the planks, knotting in loops that glint pale as bellies in the dark. The whisper swells, thick as blood in your ears. No storm, no cold, no fear. Only hush, only down. The keel groans long. The timbers bow. And through the scupper yawns, a glow sick and green, slick as rot. Widening, widening, till the dark itself splits like a grin. Something slides through. Not hand, not claw, not anything a tongue of man could name. Just a shape smooth as oil, veined with light that throbs like a heart gone wrong. It strokes the plank, the chain, your wrist. Soft, slow, sweet as love. And then it tightens. The coil kisses your wrist first. Soft as silk, slick as eel skin, cold enough to bite the marrow. It lingers there, a caress so slow it seems tender, almost loving, before the truth hums through it like a tremor in steel. Strength. The chain jerks taut, rings screaming as the coil cinches not hard enough to break. Not yet, just enough to remind you what waits when it chooses to pull. The whisper thickens, swelling like a tide in your skull. Fat and sweet as rum gone black. No fear, no fight, no pain, only hush. You wrench back, heels gouging splinters, nails tearing in planks slick with slime. Your throat rips raw on a scream the storm will never hear, and the sound dies soft in the hush that presses close as water in a grave. Another coil slides from the crack, pale, veined green, pulsing like fat worms knotted in glass. It loops your ankle with a grace obscene, slick threads weeping from its skin where it strokes your flesh. You thrash, choke, kick, till your ribs scream and your skull thunders with blood. The chain wrenches, bolts shrieking in their beds, but the thing does not strain. It only tightens slow, patient as tide, purring through your bones in a voice smooth as silk, soaked in brine. Why fight? You came from me. You go to me. You are mine. The lantern spits, flames coughing green through smoke thick as kelp. Shadows writhe up the beams like snakes, their tongues licking light that flares then chokes to ember glow. You see now, not just the coils, but the pit they pour from. A mouth yawning in the bilge. A wound in the hull bleeding black and green. Its lip fringed with threads that writhe like blind worms hungry for light. Shapes glimmer in the sump. Not coils now. Faces. Dozens. Scores. White as wax, their eyes blind pearls glowing faint in the dark. They float slow, hair writhing like weed, mouths gaping wide in grins too sweet to be human. You know them. By the slack of their jaws, the scars stitched black on their throats, the rag of a sleeve still clinging to a limb gnawed thin as bone. The bosun drifts among them, his jaw yawning split to the hinge, his teeth bared in a laugh too low for ears, too thick for breath. They do not blink. They do not breathe. Yet they hum. You feel it in the planks, in your blood, in the iron biting your wrists. That drone soft as rot, thick as oil, purring the words that slide sweet as grave milk through your teeth before you know they're yours. Down, down, down. The coil strokes your throat now, light as a lover's hand, cold as the deep. You buck, spit foam, curse till your jaw cracks, but the dark laps it all like milk from a cracked cup. Threads creep your flesh, slick, thin, sharp as needles, worming under nails, sliding down your spine. The glow veils your eyes, your veins lit green as glass, your thoughts melting slow, slopping like fat in a fire. The hush croons low, rich as rum, thick as honey gone black. Be still, be warm, be mine. The hatch bangs wide, light knifes the dark, lantern flare, steel flash, eyes white and wide in faces burned raw with storm. Men roar, boots drum, blades shriek from leather. A voice rips the hush, harsh as a broadside through fog. Cut the devil loose. Axes blaze, sparks spitting off chains as iron screams. Muskets crack, coughing smoke that curls pale in the green. Coils thrash, hissing like steam in hell, flinging spray black with brine and blood. Men bellow, curses thick with salt and prayer, their teeth flashing white in the spit of fire. The thing answers, not loud, not raw, deep. So deep it drowns the blood's own drum, booming through hull and bone like the pulse of the pit. The planks quake, bolts spit sparks. The keel bows like a rib in a vice. Water bursts in a sheet black and fat, dragging men screaming to the scuppers where jaws of slime leap wide. Steel hacks, sparks flare, shrieks split the smoke, and through it all the whisper roars, not sweet now but vast, hollow as the trench. Mine, the chain parts. You lurch free, arms raw, wrists smoking blood. Hand sees you, hot, human, real, and haul you blind through spray and steam, through a dark writhing with coils slick as oil, past jaws yawning red and round as wells. The ladder claws your ribs, the hatch vomits light white as frost, and the deck bursts under your palms. A world of black rain and white fire, sails thrashing like the wings of fiends in a sky split with storm. The captain looms, gaunt as a spar, coat thrashing black, eyes burning steel under brows wet with brine. He grips your jaw in fists like iron and snarls through teeth bared to bone. What name has it? You choke the word, thick as tar, raw as a wound. None a tongue should shape. His grin cuts thin as a knife in rain. Then we'll carve it. He wheels, his voice a cannon tearing the gale. Run out the guns. Ram black shot and fire till hell's own maw gapes for its spawn. Men howl. Chains rattle. Cannons boom like the pulse of gods. Fire splits the rain in sheets, vomiting smoke thick as wool. The sea leaps white under the lash of flame, and from its skin the dark heaves, vast, veined green. Rolling coils, thick as towers. Jaws yawning red. Eyes winking cold as coins. The whisper bellows now, loud, low, vast as the roots of the world, cracking sky and soul alike. Down, and the deep yawns to take you all. The sea splits wide as a grave, and from its throat the thing rises. Not all, never all, just a fraction, and still it blots half the storm from the sky. Coils tower black and slick, sheened with slime that gleams green in the lash of lightning. Plates of flesh glisten like wet stone, veined with light that throbs in time with the pounding of your blood. And higher still, the head rears, a jaw vast as a gun deck, yawning red, teeth curving white as harrows. Eyes flare cold, old, molten gold through the smoke and rain. The guns speak. A roar rips the dark booming broadside to broadside, vomiting flame in sheets that paint the clouds white as bone. Iron leaps screaming through smoke, shot hissing into the black like sparks in oil. Impacts bloom in gouts of slime and gore, ripping chunks fat and foul from the flesh that towers like cliffs. It thrashes, God's truth. It thrashes, the sea boiling white under its lash, waves leaping high as masts, timbers splitting with screams that drown the wind. Men howl, not cheers, never cheers. Rage and terror raw in throats racked with salt and fear. They ram and fire, hands flayed to bone on swabs slick with gore. The deck bucks, heels, shudders under a thunder that's not storm now but something deeper, older, booming from the pit under all seas. The whisper roars, not soft now, not sweet, vast, so vast it hammers thought to shards, shakes marrow loose from bone. It floods the gale, drowns the guns, coils through your skull like molten lead, booming in words thick as tombstones. You are mine. The mast goes, snaps like a bone under a butcher's cleaver, toppling in a scream of rope and iron, crushing men to gristle where they sprawl. Sails thrash like fiends' wings, fire licking their rags till the night glares red as a slaughter yard. Coils smash the bulwarks, fling guns screaming into the void. The deck bursts under a lash slick and black, flinging you high, spinning you blind in a gale that reeks of blood and slime. You hit, hard, flat, pain splitting like shot through your spine. The planks gape under you, their seams spitting fire-green light. Water gushes through, black and boiling, veined with worms that wriggle fat and blind. You claw, slip, spit brine and blood, your nails ripping to the quick on wood slick as guts. The captain looms through the smoke, his coat a shroud of flame, his teeth bared white in a grin wild as hell's own gate. His hand clamps your arm, yanks you up like a rag, shoves steel into your palm. A blade black as sin, its edge grinding a gleam cold as moonlight on bone. Strike deep, he snarls, voice ripped raw by storm and soul alike. In the eye, wretch, deep, and maybe the pit'll spit us yet. Then he's gone, lost in a glare of fire, a roar of guns, a lash of coils that scythe him to mist in a scream sharp as iron on stone. Blood smokes where it falls, hissing in sheets of rain, veiling the deck in steam red as dawn in hell. You stagger, blade grinding in your grip, and the whisper coils close, slick, low, sweet as rot. Throw it, kneel, be still, be mine. And for a breath, God help you, you waver, because the hush purrs soft now, sweet as milk, thick as sleep. You see green halls drowned in dark, fat with gold, that winks cold as stars, their floors strewn with gems veined red as heart's blood. You feel silk slick as oil sliding your skin, taste meat sweet as rum, hear laughter low and warm from lips you lost to salt and time. All yours, all, if you just let the blade fall. But through the hush, another sound claws, a bell, not soft now, but shrill, wild, hammered mad, clanging its knell through smoke and storm. The ship's bell, last cry of iron to sky, last shout of men who'll rot no more. It hacks the hush, splits the dream, rips the silk from your skull, and the whisper hisses, not soft now, but sharp, cold, raw with hate that reeks of depth. Then die. You lunge. Steel flashes, black, wet, slick with slime, and bites deep in gold that glares bright through green. A shriek rips the dark, not sound, but weight, crushing the world flat, booming through bone till it bursts your teeth from your jaw. The light flares, fat and foul, then gutters to black as the sea leaps white and the sky rips wide. You fall, through smoke, through fire, through water black and blind, thick as oil, sweet as rot. The deep gapes, jaws yawning wide to drink you down. The hush hums soft, slick, sweet as a lullaby crooned in a throat veined green with worms. Mine, always, down, and you go. Down where no tide turns. Down where no dawn burns. Down to the halls drowned black and fat with gold. Where whispers croon through roots of the world and coils not slow in dark that never dies. Down,